Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show. Coming to you right here on my YouTube channel. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. It's an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to welcome you, my international friends, as we gather together, huddle around the warm fire of friendship, and talk about our favorite things in the world, movies and movie news, and all that sorts of good stuff, and celebrate the glory that is the New England Patriots. Oh, it's a good time to be alive. Anyway, joining me here, of course, basking in his glory as always, is the one and the only Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert, how you doing, sir?
You know, John, after watching The Lighthouse last night, I think I want to spend a winter in Nova Scotia.
Yes.
At the coldest, just whatever lighthouse I can find. I just want to work there all winter and go insane.
True story. I was born in Nova Scotia.
You were?
I was born in Halifax, Nova Scotia, is where I was born. Spent the first 2 or 3 years of my life there, and then my family moved to what I call my home, Hamilton, Ontario, Canada.
Would you recommend visiting?
It's gorgeous.
All right.
No, seriously, Nova Scotia is absolutely breathtakingly beautiful. It's you got to get out there more often. Anyway. Speaking of breathtakingly beautiful, also joining us over here today is the one and the only Chris Carr. Chris, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I got the sniffles, but that's okay. So I'm sorry if I sniffle a lot on camera, guys.
No, it's that time. I find a bunch of people are coming down with stuff right now. Hey, listen, guys, we do have a whole bunch of stuff we're going to talk about. No clear front runner for what will be the biggest film of 2020. We're going to talk about that a little bit. Obviously, Star Wars trailer came out. We're going to talk about that. Really? There is a trailer date now for Wonder Woman 84. Matt Damon and Christian Bale are both going to be promoted for Best Lead Actor for the same film in Ford v Ferrari. We'll get to that in just a little bit. But before we get to all that kind of stuff, let's go right off the top with this. Now, we're going to talk about the Star Wars trailer a little bit later, the trailer in and of itself. However, much like what Disney did with Endgame, where they put out the final trailer, of course, we're still going to get 5 or 6 television spots, I assume, here before it's all said and done. But as they put out the final trailer, it, of course, coincided with the tickets going on sale. Tickets on sale now. And since I was watching the football game in downtown Burbank, right across the street from where the AMC Burbank 16 was, I just went, walked over. 6 tickets, please. Here you go. No problem. I still had people, even after all the fiasco they went through with the Endgame thing, they were still having website ticket purchasing crashes. It's ridiculous. It shouldn't have happened. They should have been prepared for it. But anyway, I had no problem because a bunch of you guys gave me this advice when Endgame tickets went on sale and just said to me, you know what, Campea, I just walked over to the theater and got it. So I took your advice and I did it, and it went flawlessly. So thank you for that. But tickets went on sale. And now I have been saying for a long time that Star Wars Episode 9 will not beat the Endgame opening weekend record. I don't even think it's going to get close. It's going to be huge. It's going to be very big, but it ain't going to beat Endgame's record. And for the record, I still hold by that. However, an interesting statistic came out shortly after. Adam Tickets put out this statistic last night that's being reported now, is that in the first hour of ticket sales that they went online, and we remember how everything went bad, and they happened again yesterday, but Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker has actually outsold Avengers Endgame tickets for the first hour of pre-sales by nearly 50%. That's a significant number. By nearly 50%, it outsold the tickets sold for Avengers Endgame in the first hour. Now that's great. And we'll talk about how great that is in just a second. But I do want to remind everybody of a couple of things. Number one, I've been saying this for the last couple of years. Advanced ticket sales records are great. And they're a feather in your cap, and they're good to talk about, and they are a little bit of an indicator. But that said, you also got to keep in mind that we are living in the film fandom world in a cultural shift, that people are more and more moving towards buying their tickets online in advance. Today, more people buy their tickets in advance than they did a month ago. A month ago, they bought more tickets in advance than they did 6 months before that. 5 months from now, I got to say probably 30% more people are going to be buying their tickets in advance online regularly than going to the theater to buy their tickets. It's a growing exponentially kind of thing. So while I have said for the last couple of years, don't get, it's good to talk about, they're good indicators and they're certainly positive, but don't get too excited by advanced pre-sale tickets just because it's more and more people are buying them. Okay, so I don't mean to be a wet blanket on the news. I'm just saying you got to keep that in mind. That said, though, Rob, it is still a good thing. If you're Star Wars, that's a good thing to hear, because you don't want to be in a growing demographic and find out you fell short. And by the way, even if Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker sold 50% less first hour tickets than Avengers Endgame, that still would have been a magnificent number. So to come in at 50% more than they did, that says something. That's great. But we just can't get too carried away with it anytime these sorts of records get broken. Interesting note, though, here, Rob, that the top 5 all-time biggest advanced ticket sales in their first hour of being on release films are all either Star Wars films or Marvel films. All the top 5 are Star Wars or Marvel. Disney wins. So anyway, there's that. Anyway, Rob, you see these numbers and statistics. How do these hit you?
Well, look, you were talking about this a year ago, about how the sales of online tickets is proliferating. I think back, when Endgame tickets, well, not a year ago, but when Endgame tickets went on sale, we were talking about the same thing, how it's become the norm. And not only that, it's also being promoted. Get your tickets as soon as the trailer drops. I mean, we all know, at least in LA, that isn't true. The tickets go on sale before the trailer actually drops, and you have to be watching. And I literally had an army of people as soon as they were available at the Chinese or at the ArcLight, the Cinerama Dome where I go. I had like text after text after text. They're on sale, and I jumped on my app and I got tickets for both the Dome and the Chinese. So now I can make a choice, and I've got force tickets to perhaps give away to others. But it was to be expected. And I think we have more people buying pre-sale tickets now than even bought them for Endgame. And for a movie like this, look, you got to go opening weekend. Better you go opening night. If you're a Star Wars fan, you want to feed off that energy. There's nothing better than going to see a big event movie like an Avengers Endgame or Rise of Skywalker in a theater with fans the first night it opens. There's nothing better than that. The cheers, the audible, hopefully there'll be surprising things. People will be like, hearing a theater full of 1,000 people going, is great. So
I'm going to disagree with you with one thing. When you said it's to be expected, I didn't expect it. And I'm optimistic for how well Star Wars is going to do, but I was not expecting it to exceed that. Even with the proliferation of the number of people, I still didn't expect it. I got to say, this still surprises me a little bit.
Well, they have been promoting. They made a big. People online have been talking about this for weeks now, and so it was really well promoted. I think we're going to see it. I don't know what the next movie is. I could see Wonder Woman tickets doing this kind of business.
Yep, I completely agree. I think that and a number of other. One interesting thing, though, I was literally at the box office 30 seconds after the tickets became available. And I was at the AMC Burbank 16. All 3 of the theaters that I wanted to see this in. Now, granted, I will probably see it before opening night anyway, but still, I love opening night. All 3 of the theaters in the AMC Burbank 16 that I wanted to see it in order of preference, were already gone.
Wow.
The Dolby was gone, the Prime was gone, the IMAX was gone. So I ended up having to get in a regular theater in the AMC Burbank 16. Boo-hoo, first world problems.
Slumming it.
Yeah, I feel like I'm under the unwashed dredges. Yeah, I mean, so there was that. But I'm happy to get the tickets, and I'm happy to see it's doing well.
You go to the premieres, don't you?
Yeah, normally.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll go this year, but even if not that, then I'm sure I'll go to a press screening or something like that. Like I'm sure I will see it before opening night. But I love opening night. I always get tickets for opening night for these movies anyway.
Chris,
I love the energy of it, the people there, the audience. It's just, whether it's a Marvel movie or DC movie or a Star Wars movie, I just love that energy.
Chris, did you rock those tickets? Did you get tickets?
No, I was live on camera when they went on sale, and I could have been like my co-host Whitney, who queued up the Taylor Swift tickets when those came online, and she just bought them while we were filming. But I was a good professional, and so I've missed the boat. But I'm gonna try to get them today.
Yeah,
we'll
and look,
see.
And the same thing's going to happen what they did with Endgame, right? Mm-hmm. They have certain amount of theaters that we're going to show Endgame, and as all those sold out, they added more theaters.
Yeah.
And then they added more theaters. So I'm sure, honestly, if you're somebody who wants to get your tickets for Star Wars for the opening weekend, I have very little doubt over the next week or two, you're going to be able to do it. Just like I was I was able to see Endgame 3 times opening weekend.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they keep adding theaters. So I'm sure you're going to be able to do that as well. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. Question here is, guys, what do you think about it? Do you think I'm downplaying it a little much? Saying, hey, guys, remember, more and more people are getting these tickets, so don't get too carried away about this record number, because this record's going to be broken again in the next little, maybe even, as Rob was saying, by Wonder Woman. Do you think I'm underplaying that? Do you think I'm overplaying? What do you guys think about it? Jump down to the comments section below and let me know your thoughts. All right. With that down and out of the way, let's move on to our main topics today. How do we select our main topics here on the John Campea Show? Well, it's really rather simple. You see, you guys come up with them by simply going over to www.thejohncampeashow.com/contact. Once you guys get there, you'll see a form. Fill it out with your topic or question. For the love of mercy, everybody, keep it to 90 words or less. Hit submit, and then maybe, just maybe, you might see your topic or question featured here on the John Campea Show. With that down, Chris, what is our first main topic today?
Our first topic's from Jim Harris. I read a story on Variety that both Matt Damon and Christian Bale are being pushed for Best Lead Actor for the Academy Awards. Forgive my ignorance, but I didn't think 2 actors could be considered for lead. Do you think there's an actual chance they could end up with a nomination? So do we think both of them are going to get nominated? Is that a usual thing that can happen too?
Well, okay, first of all, are we going to see Damon and Bale nominated for Best Lead Actor? I haven't seen the movie. I simply cannot say.
Right.
I do know that the studio is thrilled with both of their performances. So there's that. So that's good, but I haven't seen the movie, so I can't say whether they can. It has constantly been, though, Rob, a massive misunderstanding that some people believe that you're not allowed to have 2 actors nominated for Best Lead Actor or Best Lead Actress or whatever in a single movie. That is simply not true.
Right.
Now, I remember this whole thing came up. I remember when Christian Bale won his Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for the movie he did with Mark Wahlberg, The Fighter. I believe that was the name that they did with Wahlberg. And I actually protested that. Oh, really? A YouTuber protested something about the Academy Awards? Go figure. I actually protested that because I watched that movie. Christian Bale was not a supporting actor in that film. He was a lead actor in that film. And even then people saying, but John, I mean, Mark Wahlberg, they're pushing Mark Wahlberg. You can't have 2 guys up for lead actor in the same thing. That is simply not true, because you can. As a matter of fact, it has happened many, many times, and it should happen more, Rob, because to me, this highlights a major problem in the Academy Awards, which is there should be criteria that the Academy comes up with themselves that determines whether a performance is a lead actor performance or a supporting actor performance. You don't, as things stand, they let the studios decide whether somebody was a lead. That's BS, and it undermines the integrity of the Academy Awards. Now, there are other things that undermine the integrity of the Academy, but this is one that is easily fixable. The Academy Awards don't allow a filmmaker to tell them whether their film is a regular motion picture or a documentary. The Academy has rules for that. The Academy doesn't let a filmmaker tell them whether their film is a short film or a feature-length film. They have rules. If you come within this amount of time, you're a short film. If you come within this amount of time, you're a feature, blah, blah. They have rules for it. They determine what it is, except for when it comes to the acting categories. They just let the studios tell them, regardless of common sense, we want this person to be up for supporting actor, but they weren't a supporting actor. Yeah, I know, but we feel like they've got a chance in the supporting actor category, and we don't feel like they have a chance in the lead actor category. And by the way, that year with Christian Bale in The Fighter, he should have been put up for Best Lead Actor, but they knew that, from Kingsman and The King's Speech.
Colin Firth.
Colin Firth was up that year for The King's Speech, and they knew Christian Bale had no chance in hell of winning Best Lead Actor when Colin Firth was in the running for King's Speech, because that performance was mind-blowing. Mm-hmm. So what they do, they said, he's a supporting actor. Yeah, sure. Anyway, really interesting article on this from our friends over at Deadline. I want to read this at length. It really highlights the stupidity of the situation. Al Pacino in The Irishman, Anthony Hopkins in The Two Popes, Tom Hanks in A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, and even Jamie Foxx in Just Mercy are among those fighting it out for a slot in the uber-competitive supporting actor category, full of major names. And, as indicated above, past Best Actor nominee Brad Pitt is also considered a front-runner for Best Supporting, being campaigned for support so as to not face fellow above-the-line co-star Leonardo DiCaprio. Like, anybody who's seen that movie knows Brad Pitt is every much the lead actor of that film as Leonardo DiCaprio is. But they just don't want to put them up against each other. Just as Hopkins, Hanks, Pacino, and Fox are doing, with their respective co-stars, Jonathan Pryce, Matthew Rhys, Robert De Niro, and Michael B. Jordan being pushed alone for the lead category. It has already been announced that for the two-hander, The Lighthouse, that Robert Pattinson will be pushed for lead, while equal co-star Willem Dafoe will be pushed for supporting actor. Number one, Rob, I think it's, hey, look, if they've got this much belief in both of these guys, and they think their performances are that great, it's awesome that they're going to promote them both for Best Lead Actor. That's fantastic. So not only do I think that's great, I think this situation highlights an existing and ongoing problem with the Academy. They need to fix this. The Academy needs to establish, if there's ever any question about whether a performance is lead or supporting, they should have a committee that says, that was a supporting performance. They should set out some rules and guidelines that dictate if this is the situation, that's a lead performance. And if it ever comes into question, send it to a board that makes that determination. It should not be up to them, because here's why. That year, Christian Bale won for Best Supporting Actor when he very easily was supposed to be running in the Best Lead Actor category. Because he got bumped down there, Andrew Garfield, who I believe should have been a front runner for Best Supporting Actor that year for The Social Network, he didn't even get a nomination. Because even though he was a legit supporting actor in Social Network, he got his spot taken away from him from somebody who should have been registered in the lead acting category. Anyway, I'm thrilled that they're doing this for this movie. I wish more would do it. Rob, how do you see this whole thing?
Well, look, I think if you have two actors from the same film, both as leads, they cancel each other out in terms of votes. You could get the greatest performance in the world, but when you're looking at two actors that are in the same movie, are their performances based on bouncing their performance off the other lead actor? And it just seems to me like it like you said, I think the Academy should come up with more of a distinct criteria for this, even if it's about how long somebody appears on screen. Mm-hmm. It's never equal. There's always somebody who's there a little bit more than the other person. But with the studios pushing both actors, I really do think it causes, within the voting membership of the Academy, a problem, because knowing your vote will probably be split between Bale or Matt Damon, do you just save your vote for somebody else and not vote for either one of them? And what it really should come down to is honoring the performance itself. What is the best leading actor or leading actress performance? That's really what it comes down to. And yet there's as much politics involved, and who's going to do the campaigning, and who's going to do this or who's going to do that. And I think the performance and the achievement of the performance gets lost some of the time in Oscar season. And really, when you see like a Daniel Day-Lewis in The Phantom Thread, it's not the performance he gave in There Will Be Blood, but still an amazing performance. And it's I don't know, man. It's hard to say. I mean, all of this deciding seems less about the performance itself and more about studio politicking and glory, and that's fine. But does it really serve the idea and the spirit of what these awards are for?
Yeah, and that's why I think you take you take a significant amount, maybe not all of it, you take a good amount of the politics out of it when you just have the Academy say, this is the criteria.
Right.
And either your guy falls into that criteria or he doesn't.
I agree with that.
You don't get to decide. We get to decide. We're the Academy. Anyway, that's what's going on here. First of all, yes, they are allowed to both be nominated. Whether they should be, I don't know, because I haven't seen the movie yet. But this is what should happen. If they are two legit leads, they should both get pushed for leads. I mean, that's how I feel about it. Question is, guys, how do you feel about that whole situation? Jump down to the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. All right. With that down and out of the way, let's move on to our second main topic today. Chris, what is our second main topic today?
Second topic is from you, Wen. Hey, John, I saw that Patty Jenkins announced that the first trailer for Wonder Woman 2 will debut at the Brazil Comic-Con and then go worldwide the same day. Are you excited for it? And do you think it might be a bit too early for a trailer in December? All right, what do you guys think about this?
Yeah, so Patty Jenkins came out, jumped on social media, let everybody know that it's coming. This was the actual post that she put up. She put it up on there, so excited to bring Wonder Woman 84 to the fans in Brazil at Comic-Con Experience, which they just call CCXP, which, by the way, I'm hearing gets better and better every year. I am seriously starting to think that I need to go down to Brazil.
Me too.
And go see it, because this thing is growing in leaps and bounds. Anyway, to bring it to the fans in Brazil and the world. Tune in and see you soon. Comic-Con Experience, hashtag Day of Wonder, hashtag finally. So, for those of you who may not know, their day apparently is going to be December 8th. So December 8th is the day that's happening. Now, by her saying we're going to bring it to Brazil and the world, tune in, I can only assume that means that they're also then going to release it. Let everybody at Brazil Comic-Con see it first, and then shortly after, they're going to put it up later that day, probably online. Maybe the minute after, or maybe an hour later, who knows. But then it's going to be released later that day. Is this too early? I don't think so. I mean, Chris, what's the release date of Wonder Woman 84? Because I believe it's June or July or something like that. Look, I've been a proponent lately, the last number of years, that
June 5th.
It is June, so it's June. That studios need to shorten their marketing window. Because I believe any marketing done like 9 months out is wasted. It really, any impact of that is gone, it dissipates, it's whatever. They should shorten. But if we're in December, then we got January, February, March, April, May, June. So we're within 6 months. 6 months to me is an acceptable window, especially if it's a first trailer. And when you take in consideration it's going to be piggybacking on a major event like CCXP, it seems to make sense. Now listen, to me, Patty Jenkins is simply a director who can do no wrong. I think this woman is incredible. I'm dying to see what she does with Wonder Woman 84. So yeah, I'll be excited to see it. And I think December is acceptable distance of time for dropping the first trailer. I don't even think it's too early at this point. But now, if they held off till 4 months before, I wouldn't have thought that was a problem either. But 6 months is fine. What do you think about it, Rob?
I think that, to me, like you said, 6 months seems you drop a trailer 6 months, 3 months, and then maybe a final trailer a month beforehand. And I think that's kind of what we've come to expect, especially now. Remember, one trailer that gets dropped means 1,000 YouTube videos get made by people like us,
TV spots,
and people that contemplate and pontificate and talk about the trailer. So, we sort of have this built-in ecosystem that once you get a trailer, it gets promoted by us for weeks to come, and as we're going to do today. And I think that you're right. 9 months out, there's so much stuff that comes down the pike that it gets lost unless you have a directed. And you actually have a plan. And if we could anticipate those things more, then we as pundits can follow along and promote secondarily. I guess would this be the secondary market? The same way you can buy secondary market toys and collectibles, we're the secondary market for trailers, because the trailer comes out and then we promote it for weeks to come. But I think you're right. 6 months, maybe 3 months and a month out. That's how I would.
Chris, you're seeing this. Is December the right time? Is releasing it at something like a foreign event like CCXP? Is this the right thing for them to do? Is it too early? Is it right on time? How do you see it?
It is right on time. It's in December, and I love Christmas, and I want my presents. Give me that trailer. I think it's perfectly timed. I'm so hyped for this. I'm so excited because we've been talking about Wonder Woman 2 for ages.
Yeah.
We've been talking about it for so long. I need to see Kristen as the cheetah. I need to see what they're doing. Why is Steve in this? What is happening? I need to see the trailer. I can't wait for December. I'm hyped.
And ever since they cast her, Saturday Night Live girls playing Cheetah, Kristen Wiig, I've been like, how's that going to look? Because I admit, I was like, really? Kristen Wiig, who I love, Kristen Wiig is Cheetah? Really? So I've been I completely trust Patty Jenkins. So I'm like, okay, I want to see what this is going to look like. Question here is, guys, what do you think about this announcement? Do you think this is a good time period? Do you think maybe they should have waited a little bit longer? Do you think they should have dropped it earlier? Where are you on that? Jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, with that down, let's move on to our third main topic today. Chris, what is our third main topic today?
This is from Geeky Gator. Hey, John and gang. I was looking at the 2020 slate of movies, and I didn't see one standout that would be the definitive biggest movie of the year like the previous year. Last Jedi, Infinity War, Endgame. There's multiple contenders. What 2020 film do you think is going to be the highest grossing?
Well, yeah, when you look, most years, including 2019, we came into 2019 knowing full well the biggest movies of the year are going to be, they're going to be Endgame. It's going to be Lion King. It's going to be Star Wars. It's going to be like, you could see what the 2 or 3 biggest ones, it's clear. And most years kind of are like that. There's 1 or 2 clear front runners. What ultimately is going to be number 1, who knows? But there are a couple of very, very clear front runners. You raise a really interesting point here in that 2020 really has no such front runners. Like, you can't narrow it down to 1 or 2. You can narrow it down to a field of 7 or 8, any one of the 7 or 8. But as you go through it and you start looking at a number of the movies coming out, the aforementioned Wonder Woman 84 has got to be considered up there. You got Christopher Nolan's Tenet. That's something you got to consider. You got a couple of things coming from Pixar in Soul and Onward. Those have some consideration. Look, I think it looks dumb and everything, but it's a Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson movie, Jungle Book. I mean, it could be the next Jumanji to make nearly $1 billion at the thing. I have no idea what Fantasy Island's going to do. You got Godzilla versus Kong. You got Dune. That could be a $2 billion film. It could make $400 million. I really don't know what's going to happen there. All I know is that I'm dying to see that movie. I don't think Harley Quinn is a real contender there. I don't think Kingsman. I'm interested to see what Top Gun's going to do.
Yeah.
You know, are people going to flock out to that like I am? Or who knows? What's Morbius going to do? How's Black Widow going to do? I'm not really sure. I mean, I think we all would agree that one of the automatic $1 billion films this upcoming year is Sonic the Hedgehog. Yes? We all agree on that? Good. The Sopranos movie, The Many Saints of Newark.
Oh, yeah.
Like, are people going to, in massive nostalgia, rush out to that? Or will it be a modest little thing? Fast 9.
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Dolittle looks better than I thought it was going to look. The Eternals has to be up there. New Mutants. Look, the basic thing here is that
Bond.
of course, Bond.
Yes.
Bond is one. Bond is while there are a number of big sounding titles and big sounding names, the fact of the matter is, I can't look at this list, Rob, and go, oh, here's your definitive front runner. And in most years, we do have 1 or 2 front runners. So, Rob, if you had to nail it down to like 2 or 3, what do you think those 2 or 3 could be?
Well, you know, it's funny. We talk about front runners, but everything you just mentioned is a contender. And I think it's a really strong list of films. I mean, whether or not, look, we can't expect this idea that movies gross $1 billion. You should put that out of your head. I mean, that never happens. The fact that we get $1 billion grosses, yeah, it has happened, but it can't be the norm. If we start thinking about $1 billion grossers as the norm, I think you should stick to, if a movie makes $800 million, that's a huge success.
Oh, dude, it's massive. $700 million is a huge success.
The Bond, Skyfall made over $1 billion. I don't remember what Spectre did, but so the Bond franchise is in the neighborhood of $1 million, $1 billion. Black Widow, depending on how good the movie is, could that be? I don't see it being $1 billion movie, but you never know. I mean, I never thought Joker would close in on $1 billion either. But all of these franchise properties, Jumanji can close in on $1 billion, like you said. So could Jungle Book if it's good. So what if you had 20 movies that approached between 800 million and $1 billion? That's one hell of a strong year at the box office. And I think there's a lot of great genre fare. But in terms of front runners, I don't know if there's any clear front runner here because there's so many strong titles. I think Wonder Woman is definitely going to be a front runner. I do think Bond is a front runner. I'll never bet against the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Christopher
Black Widow.
Nolan.
I mean, I never thought Captain Marvel would make over $1 billion, and it did.
I didn't either. Yeah.
Christopher Nolan, Tenet, even Inception was an $800 million plus movie, and everyone thought that was, no one's going to go see that. Never bet against Christopher Nolan. I mean, this is a tough and great lineup. I think we are, film fans are the ones that win here.
Yeah, and listen, to compound the thing here, there are a lot of films on that list. Because every year there's 1 or 2 movies where it's like, you know what? That one could make 700 million and it could make 200 million. And there are like 5, 6, 7 of those films on that list. I'm like, that one could be a massive hit or completely whiff. And there's so many of those. It is such a question mark year. Chris, you're listening to this list and all that kind of stuff. Do you see in your head any kind of clear-cut front runners right now?
I mean, first of all, where do we go after Cats? It's all downhill from here. We're not going to get anything good. I honestly think that Shang-Chi, Shang-Chi and the Seven Circles, the Marvel movie, I think that's going to really kind of sweep and take us by surprise. I think that one is a great option for everyone.
It could be this year's Captain Marvel.
But isn't that 2021?
I think that's 2021.
That's 2021?
Yeah.
Oh, well then I think Bond has a lot of potential there, especially with that cast. Rami Malek's real hot right now. I think that's going to bring a lot of people in, people who maybe otherwise wouldn't see a Bond movie too, which why wouldn't you? It's Bond. I think that has a lot of potential to bring things in. I think I'm trying to think of the other movies because there's so many things coming out. I do think Soul has a lot of potential. I think that one's going to be really, really great. Pixar always does so well. And that ends up usually being kind of an event in itself, too. Everyone flocks to go cry in the theater at their cartoons. But yeah, I really think Marvel's probably going to take it with any of their films.
And like you said, John, I mean, my most eagerly awaited movie of next year, bar none, is Dune.
Yeah.
I mean, it comes out next November. I can't wait.
But I have no idea how the audience is going to respond to it.
No clue. But for me personally, it's my most, that and Tenet.
I think Dune... I have to think Dune might be my number one most anticipated movie of next year too. That Tenet is another great one. It's just one of these really, really interesting looking years, and I'm very excited for us to get to it. Question here is, guys, do you think in your head that there's a clear-cut front runner on this? What do you guys think? Jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right. With that down, let's move on to our fourth and final main topic today. Chris, what is the fourth main topic today?
This is from Jeff Converse. Holy crap. What a trailer. Chills. What amazing visuals. And well, although we didn't see the Emperor's face, his mark was left all over that thing. I'd love to hear your thoughts and keep up the amazing work. Can't wait for December 20th. May the force be with you. All right, guys, we're a little mixed in this room from what we were talking about off camera. How'd you feel about this trailer?
Well, okay, look, first of all, I have two sides of my brain on this, okay? And here are the two sides of my brain when it comes to the trailer. And by the way, before I get to the thoughts on the trailer, I just want to point out something that's kind of neat. Something that's kind of neat, all right? So along with the new trailer comes the official poster. They've now put out the official poster for Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, and this is it. It's a Star Wars poster. It's fine. I have no problem with it. At least it doesn't have 55 heads on it like some of the previous Star Wars posters have. So it's fine. I like the Falcon in there. You get the Star Destroyers. Great. Okay, so I'm fine with it. Perfectly good poster. No big deal. What is really interesting, though, if you see my hand, down there in the little credit block in this, I got a big kick out of this. Top billed actor in this movie. It's Carrie Fisher. They gave Carrie Fisher the top billing in the movie.
Yay.
And then second, they gave Mark Hamill. And then they went Adam Driver, Daisy Ridley, all that kind of stuff. They went after that. It doesn't, I'm not saying it means much. I'm not saying it does, but I thought that was really nice. I thought that was really cool. And on top of all that, it's not just a classic thing to do, but we all know J.J. Abrams loved Carrie Fisher. Mm-hmm. I mean, Rob, you and I have been in the room where JJ has been talking about his experiences with Carrie Fisher. He loved that woman. Mm-hmm. And he just gushed about her when she was still alive. He gushed about her more after she passed away. I just thought it was a really nice, classy thing. It's not, look, Carrie Fisher being top billed on the poster is not going to make this movie any better or any worse. But I thought it was a very, very classy thing. And I appreciated seeing that for the most part. What did I think about the trailer? Now I tweeted this out. And I've watched the trailer like 5 or 6 times now, and I still feel the same way. It is a very good trailer. I mean, from everything about the Star Destroyer coming up from under the ice, we're getting a big space battle, all that kind of stuff. Seeing Rey running through Endor. When it first started with the 3PO scene, at first I thought, but then when I watched it through to its conclusion, having 3PO, who's never really had a true moment. All the glory's always been given to R2, for good reason. C-3PO's never really been given a moment other than for comedic relief. And while at first I'm like, really? You're going to focus on 3PO here? And then by the end of it saying, I just want to get one last look at my friends. And I went, fuck me. That's okay. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I like that. Seeing a shot with Carrie in it, hearing the Emperor's voice. I thought it was a very good trailer. However, while I thought it was a very good trailer, I'm still not sure that it was a great final trailer. You know, it felt like a gangbusters world beater first trailer for a movie. But there were a couple of things that I thought this trailer left on the floor. You know, I feel like there was a couple of missed opportunities here. Number one, and this is my biggest complaint about a lot of trailers. Give us a sense. Don't give away spoilers, but give us a sense. What's the story about? I have now seen 2 trailers and a sizzle reel, and I still can't tell you what the story is for this movie. And that's a problem. I think that's a problem. I think that was a big missed opportunity. You know, look, everybody fucking cries and whines, what? You want them to give everything away in the trailer? Guess what, Einstein? There's a difference between not even telling us what the story is and giving everything away. There's a big gap in between theirs, and I think the comfortable spot is somewhere in between. I have no sense of what the story of the movie is. I still love the trailer, but I got no sense of what the story was. And I think there were 2 missed opportunities. Keeping in mind, Rob, that these things are commercials. Trailers are commercials. That's all they are. And they're meant to take everybody's excitement level and jump it up a couple of notches. There is nothing they could have done in this trailer that would have gotten more bumps on the excitement scale than actually showing us, you don't have to be a lot. You don't even have to have him say anything. Show us Palpatine. Show us Luke. Nothing that gives anything away. Just show him for a second. And I'm simply speaking from a point of view of marketing. All right? Just a point of view of marketing. From a marketing point of view, I felt like this trailer had a couple of missed opportunities. I still liked it very much. I watched it several times, but I just think from marketing, pure business, dollars and cents, marketing points of view, I felt like it missed a couple of opportunities to really knock it out of the park. Solid trailer, very good trailer. I'm going to watch it several more times. I got a big kick out of it. Some very big chill moments for me. But again, just it's a commercial meant to motivate people. Put the things in it that are going to motivate people. But anyway, that's just my thought. Rob, you had a chance to watch this trailer. What do you think about it?
Well,
you hate J.J. Abrams,
okay,
so tell us what you think about this thing.
Here's the thing. I think we're going to discuss. There's a difference between, first of all, before I say what I'm going to say, there's a difference between discussing a trailer as a piece of marketing and commercialism, and then there's then talking about the Star Wars franchise as a whole. Now, I thought this was a very ineffectual trailer for the very reasons that you stated, but more than anything else. Go back and watch the final Revenge of the Sith trailer. That trailer leans heavily on interactions between characters. You see Anakin talking to Palpatine. You see Obi-Wan talking to other people, to Sam Jackson. It's all about character and story. And that's what interests me about movies, is characters and stories. Aside from C-3PO responding to Poe Dameron, there's no dialogue shown in this trailer between anyone. We hear voiceover. We hear people talking, and then they're giving us imagery that is supposed to somehow back up what this is saying. But I go to see movies because of stories and character. And nobody talks to each other in this. No one has one exchange of dialogue with anyone else.
Other than the 3PO thing.
Other than 3PO, actually. So, like you said, why should I go see this movie aside from the fact, why don't I play Jedi Fallen Order? You know, if I want Star Wars imagery, which we get, and there's lots of really interesting, compelling imagery. Certainly horses riding across the top of a Star Destroyer is something we haven't seen before, and that was interesting. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't know what's going on there. I want to see that. Why do we have a bunch of old Star Destroyers? Why? I mean, if you've read all the spoilers, you know, but still very cool. And at the end of the trailer, I'm looking at Rey's face. It's a close-up of Rey's face and her blue lightsaber. And I didn't feel anything because I don't know what that's supposed to mean. A character having and I know people say, "Oh, you're going to find out in the movie." No, you've got to. My excitement to see a movie is to immerse myself in a story. And again, watching that Revenge of the Sith trailer, that final trailer, I'm like, I remember watching that trailer going, oh my God, it's all about the seduction of Anakin Skywalker. Now, I don't know what that's going to be like, but I know that's kind of where they're going. I know nothing about this movie other than, okay, Rey is training again. I mean, the First Order destroyed the galactic seat of power. More people died in Force Awakens than died in Star Wars when Alderaan was blown up. I want to have some semblance of, they literally have a wide shot where you see Lando Calrissian sitting in a room full of a bunch of people. It's like, okay, there's a meeting taking place. Wouldn't it have been interesting to see what they were talking about in that meeting? One dialogue exchange? And I wondered, why is there not? To your point,
a very similar shot in the trailers in Rogue One did that very thing, and it was very effective.
Very effective.
Very effective.
And I thought it was really interesting that there's I would have thought, and I've cut trailers myself for movies, that we would have seen interplay between all the different characters. I mean, I know everyone's in it, but tell me, how are they feeling so I know how I'm going to feel? But a lot of people are like, oh, it's Star Wars, it's beyond reproach. Like, I'm just talking about this trailer. For me, I thought it was ineffectual because, like you said, John, there's nothing in it that makes you go, oh my God, I have to see that. I mean, it's Star Wars, so I'm going to go. But there's nothing about this particular trailer or this movie now that I'm like, oh my God, I've got to see so-and-so who's standing in front of the Emperor. Like, where's my final shot where I'm going, what? I don't.
Return of the Jedi. One of the final shots of that trailer, door opens, Luke and Vader standing side by
side. They're just standing in a doorway. Like, oh my God, remember that? And the way it opens, and it's. I mean, there was nothing like that in this trailer, other than it was all pomp and circumstance, but I didn't feel anything when I was watching.
Here's the thing, the trailer is all imagery. And there are moments of imagery that have made me go, woo. Like again, hearing the voiceover of Palpatine going, I have waited, and then this Star Destroyer coming up from under the ice. Okay, listen, that gave me the chills. I like that scene. But I think you raise a magnificent point about how all these other really effective trailers, they highlight on character interaction. And through moments of character interaction, they give us a sense of what's going on and what the story is. Mm-hmm. And I love what you just set up there about how that last shot of Rey standing there looking very concerned, intense, whatever. I feel like had there been a moment in the trailer earlier of some interaction between her and a character to give dramatic context to that last shot of her, it would have had a lot more emotional weight. Now, again, we're just talking about the trailer. We're just talking about a commercial here. I just feel, I go back to my original thought, Rob. I thought this was a spectacular first trailer. I just feel like they dropped the ball a bit for a final trailer. Chris, you had a chance to watch this trailer. Like, where are you in all this? How did it hit you?
Rob is supposed to be the master of fun and wonder. Where is your fun and wonder, Rob? Well, golly Moses.
I mean, look, I've seen Star Wars imagery for the last 42 years. I know that I'm going to get that imagery in a movie. What I'm not, I want these characters. I want to know what's on their mind.
I completely understand that. And I think of all of us, I've been kind of the most meh about Star Wars this year. I've just gotten really bummed out because of like the fan forums and everyone pooping on the last few movies and everything. And then I saw this trailer and I was very emotional the whole time and kept being like, okay. Oh, that's happening. That's neat. Oh my God. Okay. And then when it was the end voiceover of Luke followed by Leia, I just burst into tears and was like, oh my God, I can't wait to see this movie. I'm all in. And I've just been speculating about the trailer. I've been following all of the forums too of just like, was that the ghost in there? Are we going to have rebels in this? I'm really excited about it now. I was not excited to see Star Wars before. It was just kind of like a thing I was going to do. And now I'm really excited about it.
Yeah. And I got to say, given the fact that I had a little bit of a mixed reaction to it, I was not anticipating how positive the reaction to it's been. At least on my Twitter feed, I was expecting, not that everybody loved it, not at all, but I got a lot more positive reaction than I was expecting on that. And it's it's going to be interesting. But, you know, Rob, you raised a point. I mean, Marvel movies, Star Wars movies, to a certain demographic, DC movies, they can do no wrong to their core fan base's thing. But still, some great stuff in the trailer. I just wish they gave it more context.
Yeah, you know, I just want to point out, I had already acquired my tickets before I saw
you saw the trailer? Oh, nice.
I had already got my... So the idea that I'm not excited to see a Star Wars movie is... We're talking specifically about a trailer, a piece of marketing, and how is a movie sold to the audience. That's it. And when I went back, because I was curious, I watched that Revenge of the Sith trailer, because I remember being... You know, even the prequel trilogy up to that point, the first two movies, were a little spotty for me. But I saw that trailer and I couldn't wait to see Revenge of the Sith. I could not wait to see it. And I was like, what was the difference? You know, there's a lot. I could write a whole essay on what the difference is. But in terms of marketing, go back and watch that trailer. Go back and watch that final, because you get the awesome Star Wars imagery of the big battles. But at the same time, it was all about the seduction of Anakin Skywalker, and I'm like, man,
and they
I want to
communicated that.
Yeah, I'm like, man, he's going down that dark hole, and we get to watch, and I can't wait. And I wanted, you know, and you saw Ian McDermott a lot in that trailer. Obviously, do you know the story of Dark Plagueis the Wise? And you know all that. Like, I just want to hear him talk. Imagine if that trailer had ended with a full-on shot. I mean, they show us he's in the last poster. The big overarching thing of Palpatine. So it's not a surprise. Ian McDermott's name is on, and like
he's on the poster.
We were talking about it yesterday. If you just had if the last shot of that trailer was Palpatine, imagine if he does ignite Force. I mean,
he didn't even have to. Just doing a slow walk into camera.
Yeah.
I mean, it would have been it.
What if the voiceover we heard of him saying, "I've waited a long time."
And that was a
if
great
that's
moment.
how the trailer ended, I would have been like, "Oh my god!" I would have been drooling my mind would have been blown or melted or something.
Anyway, a lot of good stuff in it, but I think from a marketing point of view, I thought they left some stuff there. I thought they had an opportunity there to really blow the doors off with it. Didn't think they did. Still very good thing. I'm excited for this movie. Guys, what did you think about the trailer? This final trailer, although we're going to get more TV spots. What did you think of this final trailer for Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker? Jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys, that's it for all of our main topics today. We're going to segue now into our live questions that you guys have been sending in already. But before we do, we are going to take a little bit of a break here, get a chance to refill our drinks, stretch the legs, and all that kind of stuff. So if you will indulge us, guys, hang tight. We will be back in just 3.5 minutes. We'll see you shortly. And we are back. Thank you so much, guys, for your indulgence. We took a couple of minutes. Now let's keep right on rolling, taking live questions. I'm sure there's going to be some Star Wars stuff in here as well.
No.
Yeah, I think there will be, Rob. I think you're being pessimistic. I think there will be. All right, let's move on into it. What do we got?
Madzif Jada says, unfortunate episode 9 prediction, time travel and Vader. Yeah, I don't know, dude. I don't think time travel belongs in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, I mean, there have been some people speculating time travel. And look, I'm not going to fall out of my seat in shock if they do it. I'll be disappointed if they do it, but I'll wait to see context to see what they're doing.
Too.
All right, what else do we got here?
Dalton Burdette says, over under 15% that Jack Nicholson makes a surprise cameo in Doctor Sleep. You know what, dude? I'm going to go under, but that would be really, really cool.
I don't know how you do it, though. I mean, it's like this.
No idea.
Is it come back as a Force ghost? Or not to mention, on top of that, Jack's not really doing a lot these days.
Right. An old spirit, maybe?
A flashback. I'm going to, even though 15% is low, I'm still going to take the under on that.
Yeah, me too.
All right, what's next?
Although I love that idea. Heroes Fan Productions says, Luke, the Force will be with you. Leia, always. Dude.
Yeah, listen, Chris wasn't the only person that told me they got really emotional at that. There were a number. I'll be honest with you. I watched it and I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
But there were some people I know that were like, like Chris was talking about how she got really emotional. That's great. I thought it was a nice little thing, but I didn't think it was all that incredible. But a lot of people did. What do you think about it?
Well, you got to look. Somebody saying the Force will be with you always does not turn me on anymore. It's been 42 years. It's to be expected. That's like saying in the Star Wars universe, hey, how's it going?
I mean, yeah, but to have Leia then say always after Luke, I mean, come on. That's at least nice. All right, what's next?
It's nice. War Machine rocks. Baskin and Robbins always finds out.
Dude, that line was so freaking brilliant in that, man.
By the way, can I just say, Baskin Robbins for 2 months out of the year has pumpkin pie ice cream in October and November, and it is my absolute favorite ice cream of all time.
Holy crap, that sounds revolting.
It is so
really
good.
Is it? It's good?
It's so, since I was a little kid, my favorite ice cream of all time, and I can only get it. Sometimes I buy one of those big tubs. I've done it twice. Those like 5-pound tubs of pumpkin pie ice cream. I've bought it,
that sounds like
put it in my freezer,
do.
and I can eat it for the rest of the rest of the year, or until the next year. So good.
Oh, I might have to try it out then.
It's really good, dude.
All right, what's next?
Preston Walden says, a Star Wars themed Halloween party on Friday, a leather and lace Halloween party hosted by Jeremy Piven on Saturday, and the Lighthouse and the Current War on Sunday. That's a week I'd like to have.
That's not a bad. A leather and lace Halloween party hosted by Jeremy Piven. I'm not going to go into details, but
have you been there?
Let's just say I'm friends with somebody who was Jeremy Piven's personal assistant. Let's just say it would be an experience to be at a Jeremy Piven leather and lace Halloween party.
Wow.
Because I've heard some stories. Not a bad place to be, though. Not a bad place to be, Preston. All right, what's next?
Susanna Gutierrez says, my first super chat. Well, welcome.
Thank you, Susanna.
Sometimes I struggle with sadness, but this show always finds a way to make me smile.
Aw.
Thank you for your hard work and for being my role model. Your last video made me send this heart. Well, I don't know, John, if I might say, well, thank you, Susanna, because that was very nice. Even I just felt the feels.
Yeah, and I think Susanna, she's probably talking about is I put up a video yesterday. I did you guys know I've been doing these Thoughts on Walks videos. I put up one yesterday on risk and dealing with risk and the fear of failure. And I've been really overwhelmed by the response to it. I didn't know how people would respond to it, to be honest with you, but the response has been great. And if you haven't checked it out, go check it out. And thank you so much for sharing that. Because honestly, these stories we get from people about how we talk about movies. Getting stories from people that tell us about how just doing something like this positively impacts their day. You have no idea how positively that impacts our day.
Yeah. That's very true.
So thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us and being so kind and generous. And I appreciate that. And I hope today's a good day for you, Susanna. So thank you again so much for sharing that. We appreciate that. All right, what's next?
Benny95 says, what are you doing there, 3PO? taking one last look, sir, at this franchise. just kidding. Good trailer. Music was on point, but missed the wow factor. Benny, I'm right there with you, buddy. I saw a lot of stuff, and J.J. Abrams' fetishistic attachment to making spaceships fly around the planetary surfaces of things, or coming up out of the ice or the smoke or the water or whatever, on full effect. I'm like, why do you have to do that?
Well, look, I still think the trailer did have a couple of wow moments. I thought the thing coming up out of the ice was wow. I thought there were a number of things in it that I thought were wow, but there were a couple of key things that they're missing. Look, and I get JJ's got this thing about wanting to keep everything under wraps, and that's great. But I think you at least, and I think, Rob, you pointed out perfectly, that it should be done through character interaction. Just tell us what the story is. Otherwise it's like iPhone putting out the new iPhone 11. I know it's already out, but let's pretend it wasn't out yet. Putting out the new iPhone 11. Here's the box. Well, great. What features does it have? No, fuck you. It's a new iPhone. You should just want to buy it. We shouldn't have to tell you anything about it. It's iPhone. But if I'm going to give you all this money for it, you should tell me what it does. No, fuck you. It's iPhone. That should be good enough for you. And I feel like whether it was Blade Runner 2049 or a couple of others, when you get these franchises that put these trailers that don't tell you anything about it, I feel like they're doing that. No, fuck you. This is Blade Runner. You should just want to come out to it. It's on you. You should just want to come out. And you should just do a little bit of that. I still thought it was good. Yeah. I still thought it was good. I just think...
Stories are about people.
Yeah.
You know, they're not about imagery. And
imagery is important for marketing.
It absolutely is, and it's a Star Wars movie, so getting Star Wars imagery is not something that I'm not expecting. I'm expecting to see spaceships and battles and lightsabers, and although why people run with ignited lightsabers, I don't understand. That can't be the safest thing in the world. What if you trip?
Well, running with scissors.
It's not good.
Any battles. Oh, come on. Go all the way back to Braveheart. Two armies running at each other.
I understand when you have a sword, because, you know, you're not a sword.
You could kill yourself with that thing.
That's
tough. Why every parent tells their kids, don't run with scissors.
Don't run with scissors. But I'm going to run with an ignited lightsaber. I don't know. Okay. M. Drescher says, 5 films I don't like that everybody likes. Jaws, Mary Poppins, Blade Runner, Goodfellas, and Ferris Bueller's Day Off. What kind of a person are you? What? Come on.
Well, actually, you know, I'm actually with you on one of them. I don't like Blade Runner either. I don't preach again. I know everybody else loves it. The original Mary Poppins I loved. I was very disappointed by
like Jaws, though, dude?
You know what? Anne just watched it for the first time. She was coming back from, she was just down for a week in Orlando doing charity work a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
For Hasbro. And she was flying back. She started watching Jaws for the first time because we kept telling her about it. The flight ended 20 minutes before the movie ended. So she came home. She goes, put on Jaws. I'm like, all right. We put on the last 20 minutes of Jaws. She loved it.
Yeah.
And then I said, well, I'm glad you like. We'll have to watch Jaws too. And she's like, there's a second Jaws? I'm like, you didn't know that? Yeah, there's a second Jaws.
I'm a huge Jaws 2 fan, too.
I like Jaws 2.
I do, too.
I don't like it as much as Jaws 1.
No. But as a sequel, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it is pretty damn good. All right, what's next?
Angry Irish Benjamin says, I love the MCU, not just for the films, but for the positive effects it's had on the wider industry. Launching and relaunching careers, giving spotlight to unknown characters, and so on. Yes, they have lots of spectacle, but they're grounded in universal themes and relatable human stories. If that isn't cinema, then what is? I'm bitterly disappointed in Scorsese and Coppola for refusing to understand that. Willful ignorance is the worst kind. Grumble. Well, first of all, I agree with both of your sentiments. Everything you said about the MCU is absolutely true, and that's why it's baffling to me that two men that started out in genre cinema can't look at comic book movies and go, I understand the value of them.
And look, and I'm still of the same point of view here, Angry Irish, that I've always been. I don't mind that Scorsese doesn't like comic book movies, and I don't mind that Coppola doesn't like comic book movies. That's fine. I'm not saying they should see the value in it. No, it's all subjective. If they look at them and they think they're tripe, then that's fine. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Then as filmmakers, when posed with, hey, Marty, what do you think of comic book movies? Say, you know what? I don't like them. They're not for me. Hey, Francis, when posed, what do you think about Marty's comments, Francis? I'm with Marty on this. I don't like them. I watch them. I don't get a lot out of them. they're not for me. Nothing wrong with any of that. I don't think there's nothing wrong with anybody who doesn't like the comic book movies and doesn't like Marvel movies. There's nothing wrong with it. Film is subjective. You may think may have grounded depth. Other people may watch and not. The problem I have always had, and people keep saying to me, John, why don't you want them to have their own opinion? No, I'm fine with them having their own opinions. My problem,
That was
though,
a great voice.
is when they go beyond. They're not just saying, you know what, I don't like them. They don't work for me. They go on these campaigns and keep talking about it more and more. And instead of just going back saying no, what they do is they shit over other filmmakers' work. They start using, incendiary language, like these movies are invaders, implying they're uninvited guests, that we don't want them here, get out of here. Then calling them despicable and calling them all this, like, there's a difference between having an opinion and saying, they're not for me. I don't like them. And then constantly talking about them, ratcheting up the vitriol in the language every time they go back to it. And now, by the way, Scorsese just put out another thing saying, well, somebody challenged a lot of the younger audiences today like this stuff. Did you see what he said about that?
No.
Yeah,
Don't
younger
wanna
audiences today don't understand cinema. Oh, because remember I said the other day, Rob, what I'm worried about is they seem to be getting just one half step away from starting to blame the audiences, saying you don't get it to the audiences. They're starting to do it now. And that, it's breaking my heart. It's absolutely breaking my heart to see two of the all-time greats who are still 99.9% of all the filmmakers of the future will never be as good as these two guys.
Especially when Scorsese has The Irishman coming out, a 3.5-hour gangster epic that uses cutting-edge modern technology to de-age some of the greatest actors in the world so they could be in the movie. Like, how can he be complaining? He got that movie made. He got Netflix to finance it for him. I think it's going to win Best Picture. And I just don't understand, what is his problem? Like, why is he upset about this?
And again, just say, I don't like them personally. They're not for me. And move on. Be classy about it. Anyway, we've gone on about that so much. All right, what's next?
Kick It to the King says, I felt no emotional pull from the new trailer. How's the Mandalorian trailer better than this new trailer? I felt no excitement watching this thing. Sad face. You know what? I got to say, The Mandalorian, I guess, because what you're seeing with The Mandalorian is you're like watching The Mandalorian. There's that quick tweet that they made of The Mandalorian in a standoff with like 4 dudes. And did you see that? It was I'm like, well, that's awesome because it's character based. I want to follow that dude because he's in a Tarantino standoff, and what's going to happen? I'm like, I don't know, but that's story and character. It speaks to his character, and there's a story I want to know the end of. And that's just one little snippet.
The other thing you got to keep in mind is that movies and television shows are marketed differently.
Right.
I don't expect television shows to market the way movies need to be marketed. They just don't. They never have. They probably never will. And by the way, I have had similar feelings about the Mandalorian. I'm ludicrously excited for Mandalorian. I am. But I have similar feelings about the marketing. I'm dying to see this. I love the whole premise of it. It's fantastic. It's a different corner of the Star Wars universe than we've ever visited before. All that stuff gets me excited. Mm-hmm. But has it been the best marketing? No, because they still fall short on a couple things. But then again, I don't expect that same thing that I expect from movie marketing at the same time. And by the way, ask me if I'm excited for Star Wars Episode 9. Absolutely I am.
Me too.
I'm completely excited for it. I'm just saying that this particular trailer didn't do much to up that excitement as much as it could have. That's all I'm saying. So, anyway, that's my thoughts on that. All right, what's next?
Quinn Fowley says, in reference to a discussion which sprouted from a super chat from yesterday, Anna and the Apocalypse is indeed available on Netflix. And I've not watched it myself, but will hopefully find time to do so, preferably by the holiday season, assuming Netflix doesn't kick it off its listings by then. Well, that's good to know. I didn't know it was on. I'm going to watch that tonight.
I think you're going to enjoy it.
I can't
think
wait.
You're going to enjoy it. But you know what? Quinn brings up a really interesting thing about one of the, as wonderful as Netflix is, aside from how poorly they advertise what they have on their platform, one of the unfortunate, sometimes frustrating things about Netflix is the transitory nature of the content that's on there. Because if it's not a Netflix original, You have no idea. Something may be there today. It might not be there tomorrow. And there's not really much they can do. I don't blame them so much for that because there's really not a lot they can do about that. It's the reality of the world of licensing. But it is still a frustration for audiences because there have been several times that I've gone like, yeah, let's watch this thing tonight that I know is on Netflix, only to go and find out it's no longer on Netflix. So that transitory nature can be a little bit frustrating. So if you guys are interested in End of the Apocalypse, yeah, I have no idea how long it's going to be on there. Quinn, you raise a great point. Definitely check it out. And again, to me, it's no Shaun of the Dead. It's no Shaun of the Dead, but it's so much better than I was expecting because a zombie musical? And it's much better than you might think. So yeah, go and check that out. Thanks for pointing that out, Quinn. I appreciate that, man. All right, what's next?
Movie Facts says, hey, John, hope you're well. Just wondering what surprises do you anticipate or predict in the rise of Skywalker?
Well, if I knew, it wouldn't be a surprise. I don't know. I mean, look, I don't have anything that I want them to do, right? I'm trying very hard to not do that because that's how film fans disappoint themselves. But like going into the trailer, I really thought we would get Palpatine featured. I really did. Or at least a good shot of Luke or something like that, and they didn't do it. I really have no idea. I suspect a Force Ghost Yoda will pop back up. There is an argument to be made about a Force Ghost Obi-Wan, given the fact that we are now getting an Obi-Wan series coming now that that's all announced and everything. They might do that to help promote and build excitement for that series, but I kind of hope they don't. I don't want them to use this movie to just promote something else that's coming. But there could be an argument for that. So honestly, I don't know. And I'm honestly, Movie Facts, trying not even to think about it. I just want to go in and see what they're giving us. But I know, Rob, do you have any predictions for what could be big surprises here?
Well, okay, assuming Palpatine doesn't win, which I would love more than anything in the world, he's not going to. But I think it would be pretty badass if, say, it's a riff on the end of Jedi, where it's Rey, for whatever reason, goes Kylo Ren, that punk Vader wannabe, he's dead. So it's Palpatine versus Rey. But Rey just doesn't have the power to defeat Palpatine. And we see behind Rey, whatever happens, this is what I want. John, I want Luke, Ben, Anakin, Yoda, all Force ghosts behind her, imbuing her with powers of the Force that gives her whatever it is that she needs to take it over the top and just take out Palpatine in some amazing conflagration of Force energy. That's what I want.
I'm not going to lie. I just got a little bit of a stiffy thinking about that.
Come on, dude. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Not going to lie. But again, now, but you're doing exactly what I don't want to do.
I know.
I don't want to get that expectation. And now if they don't do that, I don't want to play that stupid game that we film fans do. But I'm not going to lie. I would be pretty excited if they did that.
Like they're behind her and they're imbuing her with the Force and she's feeling it. You know, I don't know. It'd be cool.
Intriguing. All right, what's next?
Tooney Tube says, I like the new Star Wars trailer, but I was hoping for more. Feels like a first trailer, like you said. Shows not a lot of the story. Could this be a Blade Runner 2049 situation? I don't know, John. What do you think?
I mean, look, that is my concern. Is that, look, now there's a difference. Star Wars and what's been going on with Star Wars is much more well known. We've seen Force Awakens, we've seen The Last Jedi, so we're much more attuned to what's going on. So it's a little bit different from 2049, but the principle is still there. Just showing you a bunch of imagery. Hey, folks, it's the world of Blade Runner. Come on out and see it. We don't have to tell you what the story's about. And I feel like for a final trailer, look, you and I have already gone into this in depth. I just felt like a final trailer. It needed a little bit more. Tell us more about, just tell us what the basic idea of the story is. Don't give away big stories. Just tell us what the story is. And I didn't even think about it, Rob, but you put it so perfectly. Show us character interaction, because that reveals the heart of the story.
Yes.
And they did none of that. Other than a very nice moment with 3PO, they did none of that. And I think that was a big missed opportunity. But anyway, that's me. All right, what's next?
Ben Elman says, Carrie having the last word in the trailer on her birthday was really sweet.
Yeah.
Going 3 times opening weekend, so I hope this movie is as good as it looks. Me too. I mean, I bought 2 sets of tickets.
You know what? I only bought the one. I need to buy more. I need to go get more screens. And you're right. Look, they did a couple really nice things. Let me bring this up one more time. I just love the fact that they gave her top billing on the poster. Again, that's not going to make the movie any better or any worse, but it's a really nice little tip of the hat to Carrie. And the fact that they did give her the last line in the trailer, I also thought that was a really, really nice little touch. So they didn't have to do it, but I'm glad that they didn't. It was nice. All right, what's next?
Chris Lopez says, Star Wars, nothing but Star Wars.
Oh, Bill Murray there. Bill Murray's one of my favorite all-time Bill Murray Saturday Night Live skits.
So good.
All right, what's next?
Curtis Lopez also says, got my tickets last night for Dolby Prime.
Screw you, Curtis Lopez. I tried my best to get Dolby Prime tickets, but it was already sold out. I tried to get Dolby Prime, then I tried to get the regular AMC Prime, then I tried IMAX, and I had to go to a regular theater. I had to just go to one of the regular theaters in the AMC Burbank 16, which is fine. I'm going to get to see it in a Prime. My first screening with the audience won't be in a Prime, which is too bad. Did you get Cinema Dome?
I did, but I also have Chinese tickets for the Chinese. And I'll tell you, Chinese IMAX 2D, not 3D. I think I'm going to go to the Chinese because that's where Star Wars originally had its great big opening. I was a kid living in Seattle.
The original Star Wars premiere.
But I think it's going to be kind of dope to go to the Chinese theater to see it, because I love their laser projection. So I think I'm going to have to go there.
All right, what's next?
Sully says, is Jojo Rabbit not going to play in AMC theaters? I don't know.
I don't know why I would suspect that. I'll do a quick search here, but all you have to do, if you're wondering about something like that, all you got to do is go to AMC's thing, and yeah, they've got it listed. Jojo Rabbit expected they've got advanced tickets on sale right now on AMC theaters. So yes, there will be playing in AMC theaters. All right, what's next?
Hector Jeter says, taking one last look, sir, at my friends.
Again, not a moment that I liked at first. I'm like, really? You're going to spend some of this trailer on 3PO? And then they did what they did. I'm like, okay, I'm on board with that.
Once again, R2 done dirty. He better get a heroic moment. He better get a heroic moment.
R2 for a little, astromech droid has gotten a lot of love throughout the franchise.
But not this new trilogy.
3PO has not. Well, because he's had his trilogy. Oh
man,
and it's fine. It's fine.
I do want to see 3PO if they're reprogramming him and putting that bandolier on him, and he's gonna if 3PO picks up a weapon. Somebody asked earlier what we want to see. I want to see 3PO plug some stormtroopers.
Well, listen,
if that happens, I'll lose my shit.
We already saw an image where he's holding Chewbacca's bowcaster.
I know.
So it could be, we could be getting some cool stuff there.
I can't wait. Hector Jeter says, hey, Rob, how about that Palpatine's new chair, bro?
That was a great chair.
It's so funny that he says that? I was thinking to myself, oh, I hope they make one of those. Where's the hot toys? I want one.
It was pretty badass. All right, what's next?
I love that people know me so well. Tim, normally I wouldn't mind, but this trailer could have used a bit more plot details with how The Last Jedi ended. I don't really know what this movie's about. I love the show, and have a great day, everyone. Thanks for the super chat, Tim, but I agree with you, sir. 100%.
Yeah, listen, 100%. I absolutely agree. I still liked it. I thought it was a very good trailer. Good general trailer. But it's the last trailer. It is what it is. But you just basically great minds, Tim, because I think we're all on the same wavelength on that, dude. We're absolutely on the same wavelength with
totally.
That. What's next?
Robert Perez says, "Hi, Aaron. It's a good time to be a Star Wars fan."
Well, Aaron is not here today, but she does make her triumphant return tomorrow. She's now back from shoot. We can let you guys know she was off shooting Dynasty for 3 weeks in Atlanta. She's now done, and she is back, but she had to switch spots today and tomorrow with Chris. But Aaron will be in studio tomorrow, so keep your eyes open for her.
Patrick Conway says, the trailer was really lacking something for me.
Yeah, and we talked about that at length. I think character interaction and just a little bit of a revelation about the story and you could have given it some extra pop with a Palpatine or Luke shot, but I still thought it was very good. It's just, it needed a little something extra. What's next?
Nash Ramirez says, hey, John Campea, just throwing a theory out there for Star Wars. Over or under 10%, maybe Rey is a clone of Kylo.
Well, if Rey was a clone of Kylo, she would look like Kylo. Color me crazy. I don't think she's packing a penis, so I don't think so. I mean, you could do it differently, but in Star Wars, in the Star Wars universe, when they've made clones, they are exact duplicates, right? They've always been that way. So, I mean, so I'm going to go under. It's not impossible, but I'm still going to go under 10%. Rob, what do you think?
I think probably under 10% too.
All right, what's next?
Andrew Reyes says that quick side shot of what looks like Palpatine in the chair could actually be Darth Ray clone. You think?
That's the thing. When I did a quick mention on a first reaction video, I did a 1-minute first reaction video to it. I said, no shot of Palpatine. A bunch of people, but John, there was a shot of Palpatine. We don't know that. Yeah, she's looking up at somebody in a chair. They are implying it's Palpatine, but it very well could be a misdirect. It could be that Rey lookalike. It could be something else entirely. It might be Palpatine, but even if it is Palpatine, that doesn't count as a shot of Palpatine. I'm sorry. Like from the back, on the corner, just catching a glimpse of his cloak, that's not a shot of Palpatine in my opinion. So that's just me. All right, what's next?
Mad Titan says, "Aw, man, the Star Wars trailer did nothing for me. Too many snippets from too many scenes. Kind of a mess. Nothing about it got me excited. Sad times."
I think you're a little bit crazy if you say there was nothing about it, because there are still elements in there. It's all subjective, of course. I'm just saying there are certainly elements in there that got my blood pumping. Again, the Star Destroyers, the thing coming up out of the ice, Palpatine's over voice narration, that nice little moment with 3PO, having Carrie Fisher give the last line of the trailer. There's a number of good things about it. It's just that I just think it's comes up short as a final trailer, But that doesn't mean I think it's devoid of anything. Like, come on, don't tell me that hearing Palpatine say, "I have waited," and then this giant Imperial Star Destroyer coming up basically from the grave sort of thing. Come on, that's a nice shot. It should have been accompanied, as Rob has pointed out, by some nice character interaction and dialogue to set up what the context is. But it was still a nice shot in and of itself. So, I don't know.
John, what really is missing? That opening shot where you see the woods.
Right.
And she's running. If Wicket showed up.
Well, I thought that was almost kind of implied by the dropping of that old Rebel helmet.
I was like, where are the Ewoks, bruh?
Come on. They might be, they're hunting. That's what they're hunting. They're out hunting right now. All right, what's next?
Hector Jeter says, seeing the Imperial ship coming out of that ice.
Dude, it was the highlight of the trailer for me. It was absolutely, it's the thing that got my blood pumping the most. I thought it was an excellent, excellent shot. All right, what's next?
Sadhu's Screening Room says, Star Wars trailer was meh. Looks cool, but didn't excite. Can't say I'm any more excited. I was more excited for The Last Jedi at the same time in 2017 and for Fallen Order. I mean, dude, Fallen Order looks dope. I don't want to play that.
Fallen Order looks absolutely incredible. Yeah. And the trailers for The Last Jedi were better. Just saying, the trailers for Last Jedi were better. They have not done a magnificent job with the marketing on this. Again, I'm not taking away that there's not great stuff in there. There is great stuff in there. It's just their marketing department fell a little bit short on this. But again, it's just commercial, so whatever. All right, what's next?
Tom Gillard says, Rob, are you getting the Alita Battle Angel hot toy? That movie rules, and so does the figure. I'm getting it. Well, it's pre-ordered. I hope they make it. A lot of the time, sometimes figures for movies that don't do as well as they'd hope, they never get made. But
really, they take pre-orders and they still might not actually deliver on it?
It looks like it's going to get made, but I did pre-order it. I liked Alita Battle Angel quite a bit, actually.
Yeah, I ended up liking it quite a bit, too, which is kind of funny because the first trailer was brutally bad.
Yeah.
First trailer was awful. And I think the only reason it didn't do so well at the box office is because you never get a second chance to make a first impression, and their first trailer was brutally bad. Now, as the other trailers came out, I was like, oh, you know what, this doesn't look so bad. And I actually quite enjoyed the movie.
I did too.
But it's just, again, bad marketing, guys. Marketing's got to be taken really seriously. Anyway, what's next?
Darth Sidious says, thanks for the super chat.
Yeah, thank you, Darth. That's very generous, dude.
I just watched the episode 9 trailer, and it's left me thinking, really, you could make us all wait all this time for the most underwhelming Star Wars trailer of all time, and all you can give us of the Emperor is his shoulder? Well,
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I want to see him, dude. He's on the poster. Show me his face.
That's the thing. You put him on the poster. Why not? And look, we say it all the time, but it's got to be driven home because a lot of people miss this point. This isn't the movie. This is the trailer. This is a marketing department that put together a trailer. I'm sure they had some directives and all that kind of stuff. Most underwhelming Star Wars trailer of all time, I think that's a load of bullshit. I think that is absolutely a load of bullshit.
Yeah, I do too.
There's a lot of really interesting stuff in it and whatever. But overall, as the final trailer of the final Skywalker saga movie, where you've given us the first trailer from Celebration was just a lot of imagery, but it's Star Wars imagery. That's fine. It's the first trailer. Yay! It was great for a first trailer. Then they put out that little sizzle reel at D23. Okay, it's a little sizzle reel. Great, a couple of really cool shots. That sizzle reel why didn't they have a Rey? I'm not saying repeat it. I'm saying, why didn't they give us a Rey with the double-bladed red lightsaber kind of moment in the final trailer? You put it in the stupid little sizzle. Why not give us a moment like that?
I don't know.
In there, it's just that, again, solid, wonderful trailer, but as a final trailer, I feel it falls short. It didn't meet the criteria for what a final good trailer needs to be. So that's just my thoughts on it. Anyway.
I agree. Next? Hector Jeter says, getting tickets was a lot smoother than getting tickets for Endgame. I didn't even sweat profusely like Ted Stryker did when he was landing that plane. Great airplane reference.
Oh, God, I still remember that shot with the liquid pouring down his face and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I still got a number of messages from people saying, damn it, I'm playing on AMC's thing. And I actually tried. As I was walking to the AMC Burbank 16, I had my phone out and I'm like, okay, I'm going to see if I can get the tickets while I'm walking to the theater. And whenever I tried to open, it would say, yes, do you want tickets? I'm like, yes. Would you like them for this theater? I'm like, yes, I would, thank you. And then it tries to open the theater seating chart so you can pick your tickets. And it would just keep saying, cannot open the page, error, error, error. And I'm like, whatever. I'm 30 seconds away from the theater to buy my tickets alone anyway. So, but apparently overall it was a smoother experience. They've thankfully bulked up their service. So less problems, but still some people were still having problems anyway. All right, what's next?
Sub McShave is here. Now that we've had Joker and Maleficent 2, what's your favorite movie where the bad guys win? For me, it's The Usual Suspects.
Well, a couple of things. Maleficent is not a movie where the bad guy wins because Maleficent isn't the bad guy. Maleficent's the hero of the story. She's just a misunderstood hero, but she's the hero nonetheless. She's a good guy. It was one of the big problems with that movie. I don't even know that you can say Joker wins. I mean, just Joker is by the end of the... I don't want to give anything away for those who've still not seen it, but I don't know that I don't know that you can make an argument that Joker wins by the end of it. I mean, just Joker is by the end of it. I think you are 1,000% correct. One of the very few true times in a movie where the bad guy wins. There's not many where that happens, but there are a few. But I think easily the best one ever is Usual Suspects. That one is just clear with one of the greatest twist endings ever. Done so well, made perfect logical sense. It was perfect for me. What about you, Rob?
You know what? This is going to be a deep cut. But I love John Carpenter's Prince of Darkness when Lisa Blount, possessed by the devil or whatever, the anti-god, comes walking out of the church and you realize the whole movie they've been trying to get these people to prevent this event from happening in the future and they don't do it. Ha ha, the devil wins.
All right, what's next?
Paul says, I'm watching Star Wars trailers since the prequels. This was the first disappointing one for me. Not a bad trailer, but it just left me underwhelmed.
Again, I think it goes back to our understanding that this was the final trailer for the movie. And we expect certain things from a final trailer of the movie, and they just didn't want to give it to us.
No.
And I just, from a marketing point of view, I think they made some bad decisions. Yeah. Very, a good, fun trailer, some really cool stuff. Again, the Star Destroyer imagery and all that kind of stuff. But as a final trailer, I think it fell a little short.
K Major says, I like that we're possibly getting to see a lot of new locations. Finally seeing more of the galaxy afar, far away. I didn't feel OMFG, I won't say that. I didn't feel, oh my God moments, though.
I got a few glimpses of that feeling. I got a few glimpses of that feeling, like jumping around what I assume is Endor onto scrapped pieces of a destroyed, fallen down by gravity of the Death Star. Star Destroyers come up out of the ice again, things like that. I really did like the shot. I gotta say, I did like the shot. It was a bit predictable, but of Rey, in the midst of the rain and the water, and then looking up and in the watery mist, you see the glowing red of the lightsaber and out comes walk. I thought that was a really good shot. It really was. But again, I'm judging this in terms of a final trailer. Like if we were to rewind a year ago, Rob, and you were to say to me, hey, I got my hands on one of the trailers
Right.
for the upcoming Star Wars Episode 9, and you played that for me, I'd go, damn right. Damn right.
Me too.
But we're not a year ago. We're today knowing this is the final trailer, and we know what we haven't got from the trailer so far, and they still refuse to give it. And man, it just leaves me with a feeling that I wouldn't have had if I didn't know it was the last trailer. It is what it is. All right, what's next?
K Major also says, not that I needed one. Trailer was very good to me.
Again, yeah, good trailer. I just think it falls short as a final trailer. That's all.
Yeah. Peter Pablo Review says, started my YouTube channel thanks to you.
Nice. Well done, Peter.
My number one inspiration. My first review is Man of Steel. You're JC and I'm Peter. Let's walk on water. Advice moving forward?
Well, first of all, that's referring back to my
JC.
thoughts on walks thing, because I told one of the Bible stories of the walking on water story, which applies. If you want to know more about it, just go back and watch the video from yesterday. So thank you for that. The best thing I can say without going into any, we could sit here and talk for hours. I put up a video on YouTube called "Getting Started in Blogging, YouTubing, and Podcasting." So just search YouTube for John Campea Getting Started, and it will be the number one video that pops up in your search. It's about 2 hours long. That's the best thing you can do, is just go and watch that. So it is older. It's getting on 4 or 5 years old. I need to redo that video, and I will at some point. But for now, it's all the principles are still the same. All right, what's next?
Jess Mananen says, I loved Star Wars trailer. Made me as excited as The Force Awakens.
Yeah, look, and I think there are people like Chris, and there are people like Jer, or there are people who watched that and just loved it for what it was. And I think, again, if I was able to take out of my head the context that this is the final trailer and there's still some things they have not given us in the marketing that they need to give us, I probably would have been much more enthusiastic.
Right.
I still am enthusiastic, but I would have been much more enthusiastic. So I'm glad you liked it, man. All right, what's next?
Next is Ant Banks 1984 says, in one scene they showed Kylo and Rey blast something with their lightsabers at the same time. Could they be fighting alongside each other? No man can say. I think it looked like they were fighting alongside each other.
Yeah, I mean, whatever this shot was of what they were going at, I do believe there is a moment. There's going to be a moment in the film where they have to, much like they did in The Last Jedi, they're going to have, because look, there's a third player now. Or sorry, there's a fourth. Yeah, there's a third player. You got your First Order side, you got your Rebellion, and now we've got a new player in the game with Palpatine.
Yeah,
who I do not believe is working alongside the First Order. So there's a third. So there may be situations that come up in this movie where the enemy of my enemy is my ally at one point. So there may be some of that involved.
You know, I will say, John, there was one thing that I did get from this trailer that I thought was interesting, and it's that great shot where the Millennium Falcon drops in that's leading this. It looks almost like a Battlestar Galactica.
Like an armada.
Yeah, like a ragtag fugitive fleet.
Yep.
If they put out the call, like this galactic call to anybody who can show up, we need every ship, and that's what that meeting was. That I love. I love this idea that they put a call out and everybody from around the galaxy that wants to rise up against the First Order does so. That's pretty dope. And that's the one thing that did excite me about the potential.
There is the one line there where Poe Dameron is, there are good people who will fight if we lead them.
Yep.
And then they just have, and by the way,
I'm chilling out about that.
It looks like, for those of you who watch Star Wars Rebels, it looked like one of the ships behind the Falcon was the Ghost. And of course, the Ghost does pop up in Rogue One. So could we be seeing a Syndulla in this?
People would lose their minds, by the way.
Oh, yeah. People who at least watch Rebels would absolutely lose their minds. All right, what's next?
Brandon Blake says, love the trailer, but are they going to redeem Kylo? Aren't they? Hopefully a misdirect, because I just don't see a path to that I don't hate. Guess we will see. Dude, Kylo is irredeemable. He killed his father. Done. He's got to die.
There are characters they have redeemed in film that have done much worse.
You don't kill Han Solo and live.
However, I do not believe they're going to. Look, they already gave, I've said this before, I'll say it again. They gave Kylo Ren his come to Jesus moments twice. You know, Luke had his come to Jesus moment in Return of the Jedi, when he was confronted with Vader, was now beaten on the floor. The Emperor saying, strike him down and take his place beside me. He was filled with anger and rage. That was his moment. And he chose. And he chose to stay with the light, turned on the
He
Emperor.
chose wisely.
We had Kylo Ren had, I believe, 2 of those moments. And both times he chose the dark side. The moment on that, without explanation, a dangerous walkway with no handrails on it, with his father that he killed. And then near the end of The Last Jedi, when he's in the walkers and he knows his mother's in that cave, and he had that moment and he said, blow it up, blow it all away, kill them all. He had those moments and he chose. So to me, no, they are not going to redeem Kylo Ren. I think Kylo Ren has always been a multi-dimensional character. That he still struggles a little bit with the light side, but he made the choice, and I don't see him going back from that. That's just me personally. All right, what's next?
Jabin Carter says, they're hiding Palpatine for a reason. I don't know why, though. Well, you might be right about that.
Look, you don't have to show us everything about Palpatine. Just show us something.
He's on the poster, Ian McDiarmid. It says his name right there.
Yeah, anyway, we'll find out. All right.
Timothy Platt says, C-3PO, I just want to take one last look at my friends.
Again, I got to say, it's a
Cry
moment
time.
that I didn't think I was not happy they were doing it first. And by the time it played out, I was like, okay, damn it, that was actually pretty nice. And 3PO's never had a moment like that.
No.
In all of the Star Wars films, he's never had a moment like that. So it's nice to see him get it. All right, what's next?
James Argenta says, over or under 220 over or under 220 million, which is the Last Jedi opening weekend for Episode 9. I think it's going to go above that. I think it's going to outdo. It's not going to outdo Endgame, but it is going to outdo Last Jedi.
I agree. I think we're going to see a larger than 220 million. It's not going to be 200. I don't think it's going to be 250. I certainly don't think it's going to catch Endgame, but I will go over 220 on that. So I'm with you on that. All right, what's next?
James Argenta says...
Or is it Brandon Blake?
Pardon me, Brandon Blake. The music in the trailer is so perfect. Thanks, John Williams.
I'll give the trailer that. The music was epic, and it got all the emotional notes going. What did you think about the music?
Look, I thought it was great too. One of the elements that I'm really looking forward to in this of this movie coming out is the score. I'm expecting that Williams is going to knock this one out of the park. It's a long movie. It's like 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot more John Williams music. I really cannot wait to get the soundtrack. Even I don't care what it sounds like. I think Williams is going to kill it.
All right, what's next?
Kevin Rubio is here.
Hey, Kevin.
What does JJ have against spaceships in what's the word? Space?
I think we're getting some of that. I think the trailer did suggest we are going to get that. I think we're going to get it.
Well, I hope so, but even in space, there's always clouds or ice or I want to see a space battle in this movie. I don't want to see in the Mutara Nebula. I want to see a real Return of the Jedi space battle to the nth degree with all of those starfighters and star destroyers. I can't wait. Bring it on.
I don't mind there being a little bit of stuff in the background to give it a little bit more visual texture.
No, but it's fine. But like they're in the clouds. I mean,
as long as it's in space, I'm fine. We'll see. All right, let's do 2 more before Rob's got to split.
DC Marvel says, got my tickets the moment I saw Rob's tweet. Laugh out loud.
What was that tweet?
I tweeted, I started hearing from people. Kevin Rubio was the first person I heard from. And he goes, they're available. He sent me a thing. And then I got like 4 of the tweets. And then I went on, and I'm like, and I got my tickets. And I'm like, tickets acquired. And then I tweeted it out that tickets were acquired. And I got a deluge of tweets like, oh my God, thank you. So I appreciate you got your tickets.
All right, let's finish this question.
I got my tickets the moment I saw Rob's tweet, laugh out loud. Got some amazing tickets, cannot wait. Chance of getting close to Endgame's opening weekend? Well, we just said I don't think so.
It depends on your definition of close.
Yeah.
Like, if it hits 220, some people may make an argument, well, that's getting relatively close. I don't see it coming within 30 million, which is a huge amount of money. A lot of movies don't even open to $30 million.
Right.
Maleficent just basically opened to $30 million. So some people might even say 30 is not even close. So it all depends. Like, I do believe it'll be over 200. Mm-hmm. But again, I don't think it'll get, depending on your definition, I don't think it'll get close to the Endgame record. It's just a massive, massive record. All right, what's the last one here before Rob's got
Brianna Trishita says, first of all, nice super chat. Thank you very much for that.
Oh, yeah, thank you, Brianna, for supporting the channel on that
Martin
level, Brianna.
Scorsese clarified his statements again. He says that films can play in theaters, but they take too much of it, and that he doesn't want young people thinking that's what cinema is. This is exhausting. You know, I gotta say, it makes me sad because cinema is so many different things to different people. And whether you're watching an art film or a documentary or a short subject or an animated film or a superhero movie or The Irishman, all cinema, there's nothing that isn't cinema. If you make a movie, it's cinema. It might not be great cinema, but I don't like hearing Marty talk this way.
Again, I just got to go back. I got to fact check Marty. I'm sorry, Marty. 2020, 3%. 3% of the movies coming out in 2020 are those movies, as you refer to them. 97% are other movies. Where is this? Oh, we're being choked out by these invaders. Where is that? Like, hey, listen, you know what? Come back and talk to me when comic book movies, you know, represent 35% of the movies that are getting made.
Right.
When that happens, come talk to me. When it's still 3%, 4%, 5%, you got nothing to cry about. There's nothing to cry about.
Were there directors that were bitching and moaning about how many westerns were getting made back in the mid 20th century?
Or mobster movies are being made, or
Yeah.
romantic comedies are being made, or
musicals?
Oh, they're taking up the screens for... Shut up.
There's too many Elvis movies.
Too many Elvis movies. You know, let's just do one more while we're here. What's Suthius?
Suthius is here. Hey guys, if anything, Rise is going to be one gorgeous looking movie. That is absolutely
I have no
true.
doubt.
I must see this on the big screen. Somehow I must sweet talk the wife into watching the younger two while I take the oldest.
Oh, dude, wait, talking about take them all.
Take them all, man.
Take them all. That's what you got. My earliest childhood memory. Because I still remember this, and I don't remember anything that happens for 3 or 4 years after it, is my mom taking me to see Star Wars. It's the most formative thing that... It sounds weird. It is the most formative thing that's ever happened to me in my life. Take them all, Suthius.
Have a Star Wars marathon first. You know, watch them all.
I know, that may be hard for some kids.
Yeah, well, you know.
But man... Go see that movie. Go see that movie and take them all with you. Hey, listen, that will wrap up all the time here today for Robert Meyer Burnett. He's got a bunch of other things he needs to do. But Robert, we'll be back again tomorrow.
We will. By God.
We're going to have a lot more stuff we're going to talk about as well. But in the meantime, Rob, where can people find you in all of your glory online?
Well, you can find me waiting patiently for the Bond 25 trailer. But other than that, you can find me on Twitter at BurnettRM. Find me on Instagram at RMBurnett. Or find me on my own YouTube channel, The Burnett Work, and my show, Robservations, every day.
Rob, again, thank you so much for bestowing the infinite wisdom of the universe that is... the verisimilitude of your mind. we are always blessed to have you here, brother, and we'll see you again tomorrow.
All right, I'll see you guys later.
All right, guys, let's keep things right on rolling here. We still have about a half hour of time here, so let's keep things happen right along. The Mandalorian of Gondor writes, loved the trailer, but I am upset at Lucasfilm for saying tickets would be on sale after the trailer premiere when they went on sale an hour before it. I don't know. Honestly, I don't mind that. I don't mind them making good things available a little bit earlier. And to be honest, by making them available even just a hint earlier, it probably alleviated the full glut of everybody going all at the same time and maybe overloading the system. By dropping it a little bit earlier, it eased it in a little bit. So there was probably some upside to that. So I don't mind that, to be honest with you. I don't mind that. Doug Harris writes, you need to watch the Critical Drinkers episode 9 trailer review. It was one of the few times in life someone had the same exact thoughts as I had. All right, well, thanks for the recommendation, Doug. I've never heard of that, but thanks for the recommendation. Isaac S. writes, do you guys think Song Kang-ho has a chance of Best Actor nomination for Parasite? I wish he was more well-known in the West, one of the greats in this generation. Listen, I've been telling people for a while here, as I don't know why I didn't have myself on the screen there. I've been telling people for a while that Parasite is a movie we need to keep our eyes on. I actually think Parasite is going to get a lot more Oscar attention. Is going to get a lot more Oscar attention than people think. And yes, I do believe some of the acting categories are up for grabs. I really do. And it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But this is a movie a lot of people are sleeping on because it's a foreign film, whatever. But I'm telling you, in a lot of people's opinions, it might be the best movie of the year. So yes, Isaac, I think that's a distinct possibility. Trigger Wolf 95 writes, people saying they're quote unquote done with Star Wars after The Last Jedi are like Squidward saying he hates Krabby Patties. And well, we all know how that episode ended. I don't know what a Squidward is. Wait a minute. Is that a SpongeBob thing? I don't watch SpongeBob, so I can't make any. I can't give any commentary. I'm not even 100% sure. I'm sure there are thousands of people watching this right now who know exactly what Trigger's talking about, but I'm not a SpongeBob guy. All right, Jared Oberfeld writes. Part 1, the real winner last night was Disney, true. Part 2, admit it, John, the AFC East is weak. The Bills are mediocre. The Jets always butt fumble, and the Dolphins can't win. Hey, listen, all I hear is wah, excuse. Everybody always comes up with all these excuses about why the Patriots are as completely dominant as they are. All I know is that the Bills have won a lot of games this year. They're a good team. All I know is that they just went out and shut out a team that beat the Dallas Cowboys last week. All a team can do is play the teams in front of them and destroy them. By the way, interesting statistic. Through the first 7 games of the season, the New England Patriots have outscored their opponents by 175 points. That is the biggest point margin in the last 70 years, I believe, in the NFL. The biggest point margin after 7 games in 70 years. This defense is insane. And I've never felt that way about the Patriots. The Patriots, I've never felt, have had a truly elite defense. This year, they are the best defense in the league. And listen, I still don't think the Patriots win the Super Bowl this year, by the way. I'm still not convinced they get by the Kansas City Chiefs. They've looked a little bit more mortal recently, but they're still a powerhouse. But like all I hear is always, but every year everybody's crying about why they cry about all these excuses they want to make up about why the Patriots just year in year out are the most dominant force in football. Again, I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl this year. I don't even think they get to the Super Bowl this year, to be honest with you. But don't make excuses about their unbelievable, unrelenting greatness. Because they're having an amazing season regardless. All right. Ludin Swain writes, Jay and Silent Bob reboot is no masterpiece, but surprisingly heartwarming. Affleck is fantastic. Jason Mewes' performance is so good, it made me cry. I, unfortunately, have not had a chance to see it as of this point right now. I'm trying to see where it's playing. I think it is actually done. I think it's done its theatrical run now. Now you're just going to have to either hopefully try to see him on tour, or you're going to have to see it on tour, or you're going to have to wait until it comes out on video. So I think those are the only ways you're going to be able to see it at this point. I'm still looking to see maybe if they're going to squeeze it in somewhere. It doesn't look like they are, unfortunately. But listen. You never go into a Kevin Smith movie expecting, an Oscar winner. You never go in there expecting an Oscar winner by any stretch of the imagination. But Kevin Smith has a surprising ability to give you that heartwarming emotion and stuff like that. And that's played up, especially in Clerks 2, Chasing Amy, things like that. I really love his ability to do that. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing it because I really like Kevin Smith. Ludin also writes, Rob, favorite Matthew Modine movie. Oh, unfortunately, Rob is no longer here. He has stepped out. Well, what's your favorite movie with him in it? Or what's your favorite performance of his? Those are two different questions. It's... As far as my favorite movie of what he's actually been in, Full Metal Jacket, Dark Knight Rises. Favorite performance, everybody's going to laugh at me for this. My favorite performance of his is actually in a not very good movie. but it's one he did with Gina Davis called Cutthroat Island, I believe is the name of the movie. It was out in the late 90s. I loved him in that. Even though the movie's not all that great, I actually loved him in that. All right. James Hoffman writes, my Star Wars trailer prediction. Rey trains, Resistance regathers, Kylo and Rey fight, Palpatine is revealed to be the real villain pulling the strings, Kylo and Rey join forces to defeat Palpatine. Yeah, and I don't know that's going to happen. I think there's going to be moments in this trailer where they need to fight a common enemy. I don't know if they join up to fight Palpatine at the end. I got a feeling Rey, again, I don't know this, no insider information here. I got a feeling, James, that Rey defeats Kylo before, in video game language, before she goes to the final boss. I believe she defeats Kylo before taking on the Emperor. We'll see. Now, I actually don't know if we saw any of Rey training in that. I just think she's actually after something. I don't know that she's actually training. So that may or may not have been in there. I mean, Resistance Regathering, yeah, of course. Kylo and Rey fighting, I've been saying forever. That's how this thing's got to go. Palpatine wasn't really revealed, but we'll see how that all kind of plays out. But I actually think it's going to be Rey and the Emperor facing him alone. Maybe Rob is right and we get some Force Ghost assistance, but I think that's where we'll have to wait and see. A lot of speculation still to come between now and when the movie opens. Jorge Sosa writes, I picked sold Star Wars tickets early, got mine easy peasy. Really? They sold them early. I wonder if they broke some rules doing that. I don't know. That's it. But hey, Len, important thing though, Jorge, is you got your tickets. That's the important thing. Hector Jeter writes, got to appreciate A-List once again. Got my Thursday night, Friday through Sunday morning showings, all for $0 for myself, besides paying for the rest of my party. Again, A-List is simply, Hector, the best thing to ever happen to film fans. It's the best thing to ever happen to film fans. It's fantastic. And yeah, I was able to get my ticket for free. I mean, free. I pay for my A-List every month, of course, but and I will pick up more tickets for that opening weekend. I will pick up more, and I'm glad you got yours, buddy. All right, Darth Sidious writes, one of two. Hi, John. I watched your walk and talk vid from the other day, this morning, before going to work, and a lot of what you said is true. But what if there are people around the world that couldn't finish school and go to university like me because of a medical condition like epilepsy? I don't know what it is you're asking. Look, not everybody is going to have the same dreams. Not everybody's going to have the same goals. And not everybody's going to have the same resources available to them to try to achieve those. Regardless of what you have, whether you have tons of money, whether you have enough money to live on, whether you have lower income, whether you are a fully abled person, whether you are a somewhat disabled person, whether or not you have loads of talent, whether or not you have more modest talent, wherever you are in life, the same principle applies. If you want to accomplish some things, you're going to need to take risks. Now, I am never going to be a male model. And I talk about that I'm never going to be a supermodel, a male supermodel. Never going to happen. So, I mean, there are some, you got to evaluate what risks are reasonable, calculated risks, and which risks are just beyond the realm of really having any chance of success. But we all have those same principles. Doesn't matter if you have the money to go to school or not. It doesn't matter if you have all these connections in the world or not. It doesn't matter. The same principles apply. And you just got to evaluate what are your goals and then what are the things you need to do given your set of circumstances and your context. What are the things you need to do to try to increase your chances of success? And then once you've done all that, evaluate, take a calculated approach to it. Is there a risk worth taking here? Is there some reasonable chance that I could succeed if I tried? There's always going to be a chance that you fail. And then do I pull the trigger on that? And regardless of your circumstances, the principles are the same. Anyway, that's just my thought on that. All right, Ben Rayner writes, if you could read this, you don't need glasses. Wasn't that the bumper sticker on the Star Destroyer in Spaceballs? I think that's what it's from. Or was it the bumper sticker on the Winnebago? No, I think it was the bumper sticker It's what I think it's. Anyway, I think it's Spaceballs. Okay, Darth Sidious. Oh, that was Darth Sidious. Okay, Ranger 8 writes, Coppola is wrong. He might not get anything out of them, but for me, a comic book film is the last memory I had with my brother before he passed. His statement angered me. Sorry, just had to get that out. Again, for me, Roger, if the dude doesn't like these movies, I'm fine with that. As a comic book movie fan, I'm not upset that he doesn't like comic book movies. That's fine. But there's a difference between saying, you know what, I don't like those movies, they're not for me. I say that sometimes. Like Blade Runner. I don't like Blade Runner. Sorry. I wish I did. I know everybody else does, and I wish I liked it, but it's not for me. There's a difference between that and actively campaigning against the thing. Constantly talking about it and then ramping up and ratcheting up the vitriol every time you do it. To the point that now you're saying, movies are supposed to be uplifting. There's nothing uplifting about these things. They're just despicable. That's different. That's having totally no class. And Coppola's a classy dude. You can be a classy dude. You can be a smart person and do dumb things, right? All of us, right? You can be a smart person and do dumb things. You can be a classy person and do some unclassy things sometimes. And there's just simply their approach to it has been completely unclassy. And again, no one is pounding on them for not liking the movies. That's interpretive. I mean, that's fine. But there's a difference between saying, I don't like these movies. They don't work for me. I don't really get anything out of them. Perfectly fine. And saying, audiences today, they don't know what cinema is. These movies are invaders. They're despicable. I don't know what anybody gets out of the... That's a different level. That's a different level. And something that is well beneath great titans of their stature. So anyway, that's... And so I get why something like that would upset you, Ranger. I do. I totally do. Catholic Jack writes, Prisoners 2013, great Denis Villeneuve film. Versus Insomnia 2002, your picks. Insomnia. I love Prisoners. I really do. That's a wonderful, fantastic movie. Great performances, great cast, great direction. But I think Insomnia is one of Christopher Nolan's great underrated gems. I love that movie deeply. So I personally, they're both great, but I personally lean towards Insomnia. Jonathan Teft writes, I've been very excited to see The Current War for over 2 years. You and me both, buddy. I can't wait to finally see it. I'm nervous since it's not getting great reviews. Do you think it will do well at the box office? No. I don't think it will. And part of the reason, like The Current War, this is a movie I remember seeing trailers for it years ago, and it was supposed to be in theaters years ago, and then all the Weinstein Company drama went on, and its future came in doubt. And I even think they advertised it last night during the football game as well. But it's just been on again, off again. Wait a minute, didn't we hear about that forever ago? And now they're not even doing that much of a marketing push. The movie might be great, I don't know. But do I think it'll do well? No. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to do all that well at the theaters. All right, Jonathan Teft also writes, hope The Gentleman does well. Guy Ritchie really needs a hit. He just had $1 billion film. I'm not sure he really needs a hit right now. It's great that Aladdin did well and everything else, but everything else he's done the last few years has bombed. I love his movies and want them to do well. Oh, I do too, but I think when you're a director and you make $1 billion film, you buy yourself a little bit of leeway. So, look, The Gentleman is not going to be a huge box office hit. It's clear just from watching the trailer. It looks great, but you can also tell it's not the type of movie that's going to be a huge box office hit. All they need that movie to do is be profitable. If they can be profitable and make money, everybody will be happy. But coming off of $1 billion film, even if The Gentleman doesn't do well, he's still got a lot of goodwill in Hollywood right now. As long as the movie's good, that's the more important thing. But I love the look of this movie, Jonathan. And you know me, I'm a huge Guy Ritchie fan. Lock, Stock, Snatch. I'm not as big on rock and roll as a lot of other people. Hell, I even really liked his King Arthur movie. I know a lot of people didn't. I get it. It was crapped on. It was a humongous flop. I got a kick out of his King Arthur movie. There, take that for what you will. But, and I loved what he did with Aladdin, even though I was surprised he was directing it. But even if it's not a big hit, I think he'll be okay because, again, he's coming off of $1 billion film. Jason O'Connor writes, Terminator 3, actually 69% on Rotten Tomato. It's a good movie. I'm hearing good things about it. There are people I know that have seen it, and they actually quite enjoyed it, so I'm looking forward to seeing it myself. Hopefully it really is them getting back to form. Logan Tamlin writes, I think everyone who disliked The Last Jedi, but could be swayed to see the Rise of Skywalker, has been swayed. Those who are still boycotting would boycott no matter what. Well, I mean, Logan, that's true, but it's also true for a lot of other franchises. There are people who hate Marvel movies. And it doesn't matter how good a Marvel movie looks, how great the reviews are, how great the word of mouth is, how great the trailers are. They're just not going to see it. The true same of DC. There are people who just hate DC movies. That no matter how good it looks or if they get great reviews or whatever, they're just not going to go see it. I think that's true of a lot of franchises. And there's no reason we should expect for the Star Wars franchise to be exempt from that. So yeah, I think there are a lot of people out there who say, I'm never going to see another Star Wars movie again. Yes, they are. There's a bunch of them who are. But there's also a bunch who aren't. And again, I think that's true of DC movies, of Marvel movies, of Star Wars movies. You know, look, and everybody has the right to want to see what they want to see and not want to see what they don't want to see. It is what it is. But I do think there are a bunch of people who said they're done with seeing, hey, listen, I said I was done with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., right? I made a video about it 2 years ago. I'm done with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But I love my comic book stuff and I want to like it, so I kept going back and kept watching it, and it keeps disappointing me. But I still kept going back, right? There are going to be a bunch of people who are like me, and there were a bunch of people who said, that's it, I'm never watching Star Wars again. But yes, actually, I got a buddy of mine, hated The Last Jedi. And just the movie just not work for him. And he said, I remember you, that's it. Star Wars is dead to me now. I'm never going to watch it again. Guess who texted me just after I got my tickets to say, hey, I got my tickets. Did you get yours? Same guy who swore to me he was never going to go see another one again, right? So it's the same thing that happens with DC movies, same thing that happens with Marvel movies, same thing happens with Star Wars movies, blah, blah, blah. They're going to get a bunch of them who still do, some of them who don't. It is what it is. All right. Richard Green writes, love the Star Wars trailer, but we see people riding horses in space. Well, we don't know if it was in space. I'll finish your question. I hope they give a good explanation for that. Other than that, I am very excited. Maybe they are protected by a force field. You know, Rob was talking about that this morning when he came in. And he said, honestly, there are some things he really likes about the trailer, but he said the most interesting thing to me was that scene of like the brigade riding thing, and it looks like they're on the deck of a Star Destroyer. That could be really interesting depending on the context. Obviously, if they're just out in the middle of space and they're outside riding on horses, that makes no bloody sense. So we don't have the context. Is that actually something that's on the ground? Is that something that they're still in the atmosphere of something? Is it something that they're under a field of some sort? We don't know. But what they cannot do, Richard, what they cannot do is just say, yep, we're in outer space and riding horses in outer space. They can't do that. They've got to have some kind of reasonable explanation for that. So I'm not going to get excited or deterred about it until I see what the context is. So, because clearly there has to be context. All right. Rick Huffman writes, loved your thoughts on Walk's video yesterday. Thank you so much, Eric. I appreciate that. That story of Peter and the boat is in Matthew 14 for those who may need the inspiration. God bless. Thank you so much. Yeah, so I started the Thoughts on Walks because it was applicable to the point I was making. I started my Thoughts on Walks by telling one of my favorite Bible stories. And that was a main significant part of the point I was trying to make. So if you want to go check it out, it's there. Thank you for the kind words, Eric. I appreciate that, man. All right. Jedi Banana sends in a really large super chat. Thank you so much for the support, Jedi, who writes, I despise The Last Jedi. I feel they took possibly the greatest cinematic hero in Luke and altered his character into one that is barely likable. Even old Ben found a way off Tatooine, snuck around the Death Star, and ultimately faced Vader. Now that's a hero. Listen, Jedi, you're not alone. Actually, a great friend, I was just talking about, a very, very good friend of mine had very, very similar feelings, still has very, very similar feelings to The Last Jedi you do. And all films subjective. Some of us are going to watch a movie and love it. Some of us are going to watch a movie and not. And we've all got our own reasons for that, and that's fine. From my subjective point of view, as a fellow film fan, I radically disagree with you. Not that you didn't like The Last Jedi overall. That's fine. But the thing is, I have often questions. Anybody they did not alter Luke. Seriously, from my own subjective point of view, I question, did you see Empire Strikes Back? Did you watch the original trilogy? Because if you did, you know that the Luke Skywalker they gave us in The Last Jedi is completely consistent with all the character traits we saw in Luke in the original trilogy. They are natural extensions 30 years later of what that character very well could be. And I've gone on that at length. They did not alter his character at all. Everything that he does and says is very consistent with what we've seen in him in previous movies. That's my point of view. So there's that. And I thought it was very likable. And it's interesting you bring up the Ben thing, because ultimately what does Ben do? Ben, at the end of the original Star Wars, sacrifices himself for the greater good of the other heroes. What does Luke do? Luke, by the end of The Last Jedi, he sacrifices himself to save the rest of the heroes so they can get away and that the rebellion can be reborn. That's exactly what he did. He stretched himself out using force projection to the point that it literally was going to kill him, but he did it anyway to save everybody else. Much like Obi-Wan knew by going and confronting Vader, he was going to die, but he was willing to do that and sacrifice himself so the heroes could get away and the rebellion could survive. And then ultimately, whether you liked it or not, or enjoyed it or not, that ultimately is what Luke did at the end of The Last Jedi as well. So, listen, I don't begrudge you at all that you didn't like a particular movie. Again, I've a lot of friends of mine who didn't like it either. But I do take issue with my friends, as I do with you, my friend, saying that Luke was altered. I disagree with that fundamentally. I feel like there's a fundamental lack of understanding of the character of Luke in the original trilogy if you think he was altered from that, because I think he was incredibly consistent. Doesn't mean you had to like the movie, and it doesn't mean the movie would have worked for you. But I just think that one element of it is something that I thought was very obvious and very key. But that's just my particular point of view. Anyway, dude, thank you for sharing your thoughts. And again, man, thank you for supporting the channel on that level, man. I really, really appreciate it. And thank you for expressing your opinion on that movie. I appreciate it, dude. All right. The Katzel Show writes, can we finally put to bed this Star Wars is dead myth now? Love the show. Well, I mean, first of all, that has always been one of the most idiotic things to say. Star Wars is dead now. Now, keep this in mind. When there are some people who have said Star Wars is dead, and what they meant by that is it's dead to them, right? Now, listen, when the prequels came out, there was a lot of people saying the same kind of thing, right? And I remember I had a feeling like that when I went to go see, I went to the world premiere of the Star Wars Clone Wars movie. Remember, that was a theatrical released movie. And I went to the world premiere of that. And I hated that movie. Hated that movie. And I hated it so much, I came out of that world premiere, because you think you're at the world premiere, you think you're going to have a good time. I came out of that Star Wars world premiere going, Star Wars is dead to me. Not that I don't still love all the older stuff, but today my Star Wars fandom died. I hated it so much that I came out that hyperbolic. I came out and saying, that's it. My Star Wars love has died. My Star Wars love has died. Not that I didn't still love all the other stuff. It's just that I hated that movie so bloody much. I hated that thing so much that I came out saying that. And anyway, there are people who, now that didn't mean I thought Star Wars was no longer going to exist. It didn't mean that I didn't think Star Wars couldn't still be financially successful. I just thought for me, at that moment, I thought Star Wars is dead to me. Star Wars is dead to me. And I whined and I cried and I bitched and I complained. And I do what we fans do sometimes. And I'm like, that's it. Star Wars is dead to me now. That was me. And I think there are a lot of people, there are some people who, when they say Star Wars is dead, what they mean is that they're not, there are a lot of people who don't suggest that, oh, no one's going to see Star Wars again. They're just saying for them, Star Wars is dead. Now, there are some people who did mean that, who did mean no one cares about Star Wars anymore. Like, they weren't just speaking for themselves. There are some people who like made definitive statements like, no one cares about Star Wars and no one's going to go see Star Wars anymore. Star Wars is dead. You know this movie's going to make over $1 billion. I don't think it's going to make $2 billion, but only like 5 or 6 films in history ever have. But it's going to be a big movie. It's going to be a big movie. There are still lots of people who love Star Wars and are going to go out to see Star Wars Episode 9. I don't think as many people as saw The Force Awakens. I don't think as many people as saw Endgame. But yeah, but to be fair, Katzel, I think when you hear some people saying Star Wars is dead, they're not necessarily saying they don't think the movie's going to make any money. They're saying that it's for them, just like I did it once, right? You know? So anyway, that's just kind of my thoughts on that. All right, Toonie Tube writes, any chance The Mandalorian gets a Blu-ray release? If not, I'm not able to watch it in the next couple of years. Honestly, that's been a question that's come up before. Like, understanding that the whole reason Disney is making Disney Plus content is to get people to sign up to Disney Plus. Will they make their Disney Plus original content available on Blu-ray? I'm guessing not, for a couple of reasons. Number one, Blu-ray is dying. Like, the statistics don't lie. Rob and I have talked about the statistics many, many times. The amount of people buying Blu-ray players, Blu-ray content is dropped exponentially every year. It's disappearing. So there's that. The second thing is what I said before. The whole reason they're making Disney Plus content is to get people to subscribe to Disney Plus. So for them to then make it available on Blu-ray seems, counterproductive to what their goals are. So they might make it available on Blu-ray. My guess is going to be that they won't, but it's just a guess. We'll have to wait and see. All right, Jedi Bananas writes, chances JJ brings Luke back to life or explains he didn't die at all. Listen, Jedi, I said since the end of The Last Jedi that I believe there is a 5% chance, just 5%, that Luke is actually still alive. That meant I believe there's a 95% chance that, he's dead. I think it is incredibly unlikely that JJ says that Luke never actually died. I think it's incredibly unlikely that happens. But is there a chance? I still say 5%, at most 5%, which means it is highly, highly unlikely. But I would be very excited if they did, Jedi. I would be very, very excited if they did. All right, Suthius writes, I love the view of hills in your thoughts on walk. I gotta admit, listen, Burbank's a beautiful town. We live in the valley. I got beautiful hills behind my house, behind where we live. It's a beautiful neighborhood. I'm very, very lucky to live here. It's kind of beautiful scenery for the thoughts on walks, isn't it? It's a nice little background. Thanks for that. All right. Rod V66 writes, did you notice the ship Ghost from Rebels in the trailer? I think I did. Like, I'm not 100% sure. I got to look at a still shot. I'm not 100% sure that was the Ghost, but when I saw him, like, is that the Ghost? I wouldn't be surprised if it was, and I do think it was, but we'll have to wait and see for sure. Recruz writes, where are we at here? Despite what people think about the Star Wars movies, one thing they have to agree on is that the music in the trailer was just magical. Well, Recruz, nobody has to agree on that. But I think most people do. It was terrific music. The score and the soundtrack for the trailer was fantastic. I still think they needed to give us some actual character dialogue. I think they had to at least give us a sense of what the story is, considering this was the final trailer. But the music of it, I think was pretty damn spot on. I really do. Matthew Mellar Agno writes, I love the new trailer. You're not alone, Matthew. A lot of people did. And look, I don't want to be misinterpreted. I don't want people running around saying, Campea hated the new Star Wars trailer. No, I'm not saying I hated the Star Wars trailer. I actually quite like the Star Wars trailer. I just feel like as the final trailer, they needed to do more. But there's a lot of people, like Chris, who was in here, really, really did like that Star Wars trailer, man. And rightfully so. All right, Lewis David writes, this is the first Star Wars movie I will see without my dad since he passed away and became one of the Force last year. Man, there's a bittersweetness to that, right? On the one hand, it will be, like, it reminds me of, like, when we go see, like, a big new Marvel film, whatever, or a big comic book movie, and reminds us that Schnepp's not there anymore. At the same time, there's a sweetness to it, knowing that you're carrying on a tradition that you and your dad had together. It is one of the most magical things, Lewis, about movies. That movies are incredibly deep and emotional shared experiences. Movies at their best are shared experiences. And because of those connections, movies take on a greater meaning than just the movies themselves. And for you to be able to continue on that tradition that you and your father had now that your father's not here, I think is a beautiful thing. I think that's a beautiful thing. And you know, whether the movie's great or terrible, I hope that you have a great experience being there, knowing that you're carrying on that tradition that you and your dad used to do together. So thanks for sharing that. That's a beautiful thought. Thank you for sharing that, dude. I really appreciate that. All right. Jack Knight Starman sends in a really large super chat. Thank you, Jack Knight, for supporting the channel on that level. We appreciate it, dude. Writes, I have to admit, as a Star Wars fan who claims to enjoy the new trilogy a lot more over the prequels, I was surprised by your response to the final trailer. I don't want to know everything going in. Marvel Studios gets it. One. Number two, hiding story points but still being true to the film. I got goosebumps like I was a kid again. That's, I guess, what matters. But here's the thing, Jack Knight. There is a difference between not giving everything away and not just even telling the audience what's the story. Like, the Marvel movies, they let us know what the story of the movie is, right? Like, I didn't think the Endgame marketing was the greatest marketing in the world, but they did a good job of, like, they clearly communicated to us what's the basic underlying story of this movie. And they showed us lots of character interaction. Like, lots of, especially, remember, like, in that Cap giving his big speech, you know, before they went on their mission through their time travel mission. He gives that great speech and talking to all of his fellow Avengers, and, you know, and then Rocket's like, oh, that's a great speech. And, you know, and Ant-Man's like, right? I mean, they give you that character interaction. They tell you what the basic story of the movie is through the character interaction. Even though I didn't think the Endgame was the greatest marketing campaign in the world, it at least did all that. And again, I just think there is a big difference. It's not either you tell us absolutely nothing or you give away absolutely everything. It's not just those two options. Don't tell us a lot, but just, what's this movie about? And Marvel at least always does that. They always tell us, what is the movie about? What are our characters facing this time out? And I feel like they didn't do that here, and I think probably they should have. But, and I don't think by telling us what the story is, that you've given the movie away. I don't think that at all. And again, when you don't tell your audience what the movie's about, it's like what I explained before. It's like putting the iPhone 11 on sale, but not telling anybody what's actually new in this new iPhone. Okay, I'm looking at this new iPhone. Can you, what's the specs on it? How's it different from the old one? Fuck you, we're not going to tell you anything. It's an iPhone. That should be good enough for you. And I kind of feel like that's what Blade Runner 2049 did. It's like, hey, I'm kind of curious about a new Blade Runner movie. Can you tell me what the movie's about? Nah, fuck you. It's a Blade Runner movie. You should be grateful that you're getting to see a Blade Runner movie. And then nobody went to go see it. Again, that's a little bit of hyperbole. There are many things about this trailer that I liked. You know, that's the funny thing. There are many things about the trailer that I liked. I just feel they should have, you know, told us what the movie's about. Showed us a little bit of character interaction. Get us emotionally hooked in rather than just using the visuals. And the visuals were great. The visual representation was wonderful. That Star Destroyer coming up from under the ice. I loved that. But as a final trailer, I just feel like they should have given us a little bit more in terms of story and character interaction. But because they really haven't given us any of that in any of the trailers so far. But that's just me. All right. Thanks for sharing your thoughts on that, man. All right. Epic Berserker writes, just announced this morning, glad I have Verizon Unlimited data, free Disney Plus for 1 year. Glad I waited to subscribe. Yep. Now, I don't know. For those of you who didn't hear, they have... Verizon is offering this new thing now that you get, if you're a Verizon member, you get Disney Plus free for a year. Now, what I haven't looked into it yet, so I don't know if that only includes new customers. I don't know, because I'm a Verizon customer myself. I don't know if that's for existing customers. I haven't read into it, but still, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool, because that's like a $90, $100 value. Yeah, I got to look into that, because if it's for existing customers too, I'm going to be very, very happy. All right. Steven Stanley writes, that Star Wars trailer made me so happy. I know not everyone will love it, and that's okay. But do you think some fans are overly negative? Oh, sure. Yeah. There are some fans that are overly negative. Yes. But that's true of all of us sometimes. Let's be honest. That's true of all of us sometimes. And every fandom has that segment. There are some DC fans that are overly negative sometimes. They legitimate criticisms, but also maybe sometimes overly negative. Marvel fans has some people that legitimate criticism, sure, but sometimes overly negative. Star Wars fans, some legitimate criticisms, but sometimes overly negative. But it's true of all the fandoms, and it's true of everyone. We can all be that person that's overly negative sometimes. Like, look, I just told the story myself. After going to the world premiere of that Star Wars Clone Wars movie, I came out going, Star Wars is dead to me. I mean, that was me, right? I mean, we can all do it, and sure. So yes, it definitely, there are some fans that are overly negative, but we all do that sometimes, and every fandom has it. All right. Green Monkey writes, I love that name with the icon. So, with the Ghost being in the new Star Wars trailer, we think, any hopes for Hera, Ezra, or other Ghost crew members? I don't think so. I think there'll be little Easter egg references like there was in Rogue One, but I really don't think we're going to see them as characters in the movie. I could be wrong about that, but the fact of the matter is the vast majority of Star Wars fans have never seen Rebels. Let me rephrase that. The vast majority of general movie-going fans have never seen Star Wars Rebels or knows what Star Wars Rebels is. But little references and little Easter eggs like that, I can see that popping up. Remember? I think, what did they say? Captain or General Syndulla? I can't remember what they said, but in Rogue One, there was over the PA system. Like, so little, like, Easter eggs, I can see that, but actual characters that make an impact in the story, I don't think they will. It's not impossible, but I don't think they will. All right, Carlos Sosa writes, hey, John, I love the Star Wars trailer, but I think it looks I love the Star Wars trailer. I think it looks absolutely incredible. A friend of mine is saying that they gave too much away and predictable. I don't know how anybody says they gave too much away. Honestly, Carlos, I have no idea what your friend is smoking. How can your friend possibly... they didn't even tell us what the movie's about. They gave us a couple of big visuals, but all out of context. You know? Like, much like, okay, we saw the horses riding across, saying, okay, but we don't know what the context is. Yeah, we see a Star Destroyer coming out of ice. Okay, that's cool, but I don't know what the context is. I have no idea what any of that meant. So I would firmly disagree with your friend's assessment that they gave too much away. Because I didn't get that whatsoever. They didn't even tell us what the story was about. They didn't even show us any other than the 3PO thing. They didn't even show us any dialogue between characters. So I don't know how we got that they gave too much away. Anyway, Big Cope 76 writes, I agree with you. I think the trailer had to show Luke or Palps to make it really, really good. See, it's not that I think they needed to do that to make it good. I think as a final trailer, as a piece of marketing, I think that would have been a good thing to do to really give it pop. Like, I think the trailer was a good trailer. And I don't think showing Palpatine content-wise makes it any good or worse, but what it would have done was given everybody an oh shit moment. And I don't know if the trailer had that oh shit moment. That's, but, you know, is what it is. All right, guys, I just got time for a couple more, and then we're going to have to wrap it up today here. Man, let's see if I can pronounce this. Gervonix writes, my top 10 movies in no particular order. Goodfellas, amazing. Scream, I'm not a big Scream fan. I know all my friends love Scream, and I don't think it's bad, but I'm not a big Scream fan myself, but all my friends love it. Grease is classic. Point Break, I love Point Break. Fast and Furious is just a Point Break ripoff. Anyway, Van Wilder, I've not seen that on anybody's top 10 list. Snatch, I was just talking about that. Guy Ritchie, I love that movie. It's in my top 10 as well. The Thing, A League of Their Own, there's no crying in baseball. The Warriors, and Noises Off, my number 2 all-time favorite comedy. Dude, what a list. I love your list. I love that you got Point Break and Noises Off in there. That's fantastic. I never see Noises Off put on anybody's list. Actually, usually when I talk to people about Noises Off, they don't even know the movie I'm talking about. For those of you who don't know what Noises Off is, it's this comedy from, I think, the early 90s. Might have been the late 80s, early 90s, whatever. Michael Caine. Listen to this cast. Michael Caine, Carol Burnett, John Ritter, Christopher Reeve. I mean, just to name a few. It's fantastic. It is my second all-time favorite comedy, only behind The 40-Year-Old Virgin. So, man, I love that you put that on your list, dude. All right, Dave XP writes, do you think the Barney movie will break the online ticket sales record? You never know. You never know. I mean, hey, if they make it about Barney going on to become a tantric sex therapist, then you never know. It just might. All right. David Dunlap writes, your opinion, could Brady surpass Gretzky as the greatest? No. No. Wayne Gretzky is the most dominant, by a mile, professional athlete of his sport ever. Ever. ESPN did a statistical breakdown about how far ahead of everybody else that's ever played the game is Gretzky was in his sport compared statistically to the other greats of their sports. And nobody came close. Like, Wayne Gretzky was so far and ahead, statistically speaking, way ahead, that it's comical. Wayne Gretzky is the most dominant person in their sport, professional sport out of all the big sports ever in history. No one comes close. Statistically speaking, no one came close. He owns every record. Every single record. He owned them all. Most goals, most points, most assists, and all of them by miles. By miles ahead of everybody else. So as Brady, I think Brady is the GOAT when it comes to NFL football. But no, he's not even the number one touchdown thrower. Like, if he has, like, most everything, maybe, and most everything by a mile, maybe, but he's not. So no, Gretzky is the greatest athlete of his sport, I believe, of all time. And he's not even my favorite hockey player, but he is the greatest. All right, 3 more questions, then we're going to wrap it up here, guys. River Hippotuber, I love the name, writes, my AMC let me buy tickets online before Monday Night Football started, 8 a.m. on Friday, on purpose, too. That's perfect for those of us that work nights. Well, listen, for however, by hook or by crook, by whatever means possible, by any means necessary, whatever it takes, as long as you got your tickets, that's the important thing. I'm glad you got yours, man, and it's almost here. It's almost here. All right, Brett Besson writes, I leave for my 2-year mission to Chile soon, and I won't be able to watch episode 9. Oh, that's unfortunate. You'll see it somehow, some way. The opportunity will avail itself. Hopefully, I'll come back to an awesome film and tons of Campea / Harloff / Robert Meyer Burnett content in 2021 when I get back to BYU. Well, first of all, good, safe trip on you, and we will be here waiting for you when you come back. Hopefully, it'll be a great Star Wars movie. We won't know till we see it. I'm certainly very excited about it. Maybe it'll be the best movie ever. Maybe it'll completely suck. Who knows? We won't know till we see it. But hopefully we will. And, hopefully I'll still be doing this. Hopefully, Rob and Harloff will still all be doing stuff together. So, or the world could look very different when you get back. So best of luck to you, and thanks for sending that in, Brett. All right, final question of the day. And then we're going to have to wrap things up here because my voice is just about gone. Samuel Shin writes, didn't think Sony / Disney deal for Spider-Man would happen, and because it worked out, I'm hoping for Affleck and Cavill's return to Warner Brothers / DC. Different situation, obviously, but I acknowledge I'm being optimistic. Dude, listen. I love Ben Affleck as Batman. broke my heart when he left. And Henry Cavill is my all-time favorite Superman playing the role. I just love the way he plays the role. But I don't think that's going to happen. And you're right, they are two very different situations. But until they announce who the new Superman, I mean, anything's possible. So we can hold on to that. But, dude, I wouldn't put any money on it. I really think, Samuel, that those are ships that have sailed, my friend. Those are ships that have sailed. And I hate feeling that way. I don't like that that's the case, but I think that's the case. Now, I wouldn't put $1 million on that because you never know. Anything can happen. Because remember, time passes and circumstances change. When circumstances change, possibilities change, right? So, for a long time, Spider-Man ever appearing in an MCU movie, well, given the circumstances, it was an impossibility. But then what happened? Circumstances changed. Suddenly, Sony found itself in the middle of a financial crisis, and all of a sudden, now with new circumstances come new opportunities. And then it did happen, right? So never say never, but I gotta admit, dude, right now, doesn't look good. Does not look good. One last quick one here. Sujith writes, 3 spy movies in 2020, Bond, Tenet, Black Widow, and I got a feeling the Bond one's going to be, tough to beat, but Christopher Nolan's doing Tenet. I still got to admit, look, I've never been interested in either a Hawkeye or Black Widow movie. Never been interested in either of them. So I don't have a lot of excitement for Black Widow. We'll see, though. We'll see. I think it's going to come down to Bond and Tenet. We will have to wait and see. Hey, guys, listen. For everybody else, from Orange Grove 55, Ryan Cleary, Dave Harris, and everybody else all the way down who sends Super Chats, do not worry. I'm going to do a companion video a little bit later today, and we will get caught up on all the Super Chats that got sent in. You sent in those questions. They will be answered in a video today. Keep your eyes open for that, and we will get to that stuff a little bit later. Guys, that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here and being a part of the show here and watch the show along with us. Thanks to Robert Meyer Burnett and Chris Carr for being here. Make sure you guys follow them on their channels as well. And a special thank you to all you guys who sent in questions, not just because you gave us great fun things to talk about, but also because you supported the channel along the way as we did it. So don't forget, a companion video coming a little bit later today. I believe there's going to be a new Thoughts on Walks later today as well. Keep your eyes open for that. And then, of course, tomorrow, 2 big things. We got the John Campea Show in the morning. Me, Robert Meyer Burnett, and Aaron Cummings is back. So we got that in the morning. And then in the afternoon, the Weekly Hero is back. Don't forget, we relaunched the Weekly Hero last week. So tomorrow afternoon, me and Robert on the Weekly Hero. That'll be live tomorrow afternoon. So keep your eyes open for that. All right, guys. That will do it for me for now. Thanks so much for being here. My name is John Campea. And until next time, bye-bye.